Hey friends, welcome to tonight's masterclass. My name is Marianne Hickman, and I'm so excited to have you from wherever you're joining us from all over the world. Listen, the chat should be open. Go ahead and drop a hello in there. Let us know where you're tuning in from. I'm very excited for the content that we are bringing you tonight. But before we bring on Dolph and Kris, I need to let you know exactly what to expect. Tonight, we are starting with the top 5 no money down strategies for real estate wealth. Now, guys, this isn't just fluffy language. This is the actual thing. So get ready for some life-changing knowledge. And I say that with real meaning. Listen, 7 years ago, I sat down with Kris. I had a conversation that changed my trajectory. Absolutely changed my life. So when I say life-changing, I actually really mean it. Now, listen, how to get the most out of tonight's masterclass. Pay attention here. Please make sure you're in a distraction-free zone. We want your full and undivided attention tonight because the rest of your life, frankly, deserves it. Mute your cell phone. Take copious notes. Write down any questions. There will be a live Q&A right at the end of this live masterclass tonight. We also have a cash giveaway contest. We'll be announcing that in a few minutes. You do have to be present to win that. However, there is 1 entry per person. We'll be giving you more details about that in just a moment. But one other thing for all of you, stay until the very end of the class because Kris has a very special gift worth $500. He's just going to give it to you for being here, but you have to stay to get it. It's the Real Estate Foundation course. Listen, if you want to excel in real estate, you have to really understand what you're talking about. And this course is going to teach you the ins and outs, A to Z, top to bottom, all things real estate. Now, rule number 1, have some fun. Rule number 2, have some more fun. Be ready to learn and do those things at the same time. I'm going to be bringing up Kris in just a moment. Now, let me give you a little bit of insight. You know who this guy is because you've seen him all over the internet, financially free at 26. You can see his accolades all there. But I just want to give you a personal connection on who I know Kris to be. I hired Kris as a mentor 7 years ago, and I was his student. I started doing real estate, and I said, you know what? This guy isn't going anywhere without me. Because I want to know from the best. I want to learn from the best. And so I would invite you to pay attention. Act as if Kris was in the room talking to you right now, here tonight. And even in addition to that, here's the thing. Kris learned from someone as well. We actually have Kris's original mentor, Dolph DeRoos, who is an expert in the real estate field. Essentially, friends, you have the kings of real estate in front of you, whether you're going single family, whether you're going commercial, whether you want to do real estate with or without money. Tonight, we're going to be emphasizing on what you can do, no money down, getting extra creative, because listen, that's how the top 2% think. So if you want to be a part of the top 2%, please pay attention to the top 2%. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to ask you to put, wherever you're at, put your stuff down, put your pens down. Don't take notes for a second. You're about to bring up notes in a second. I want you to put your hands together, make some noise wherever you are in your homes, and put your hands together for Kris and Dolph.
Yeah! Hey there. Hey, guys.
Hey, what's everybody? We're giving Marianne like a double mentor hug sandwich.
It's the best.
All right, Marianne, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
And man, what a special treat it is for me to be with you, but also to be here with my original mentor. It's true, Dolph was literally helping train me in the game of real estate before I bought my very first home. His books, his information, certainly also as an advisor to Robert Kiyosaki, a financial advisor. I mean, you've written 23 books. You've written the book on commercial. You do it internationally. So wherever you're at in the world today, I'm really pleased that tonight you have the opportunity to learn, not just from me, but really from our guest today, Dolph DeRoos.
Well, that's so nice to hear. You know, the reason why we do this, Kris, is the accolades we get from people. And to hear that from you, that makes me feel it was all worthwhile. My pleasure to be here.
Well, excellent. All right, listen, we've got a lot to do here, so everyone listen up. We're going to be getting going in the game of real estate, and we want to have some fun tonight. So here's what we're going to do. We're just going to kick off with a little contest. And here's what you're going to do. You're going to go to the chat right now, and you're going to put 10 words or less. What is the biggest limiting belief about getting in real estate? Like, is it money? Is it credit? Is it belief system? Whatever you think keeps you or other people from the game of real estate, you have an opportunity to win $100. Like, we're gonna Venmo at the end of tonight, somebody $100, and you all get to pick who it is. We're gonna have that poll up at the end, but you just got a few minutes right now to drop your entry in. And so, Dolph, before we get going on what all that is, let's just talk about the crazy state of this world, because tonight we are talking about the 5 ways of doing real estate, the best 5 ways of doing it with no money, no credit. But as they're putting their entries in, look at the crazy world that we live in.
We are living in a crazy world, and I'll tell you, Kris, when the pandemic struck, everyone thought real estate was going to tank, that it was going to have another situation where the bubble burst. But we both agree that is not the case.
And guess what? There is no bubble. In fact, we are in recovery mode. Vaccinations are being distributed, and we're not here to talk about vaccinations or masks because it's a heated topic. But I'm just glad that some of these things are happening in the world like this. Unemployment right now has gone from now not just 10%, it's dropped to 6%. People are getting back to work. In America, really, Dolph, it's recovering. In fact, right now, the stimulus and the job spikes in the US, we are leading the way in the world on spending, on travel. I've traveled, I think, to 3 states, Costa Rica, another country, just this last month alone. So the world is getting back to some type of normal.
Right, it is. And yet at the same time, people still think that this real estate market is going to crash, that the bubble is bursting. And there's one particular reason why it's not bursting right now.
Yes, and you know what? We're going to go into all the details on that. Check this one out, though. The states, they're reporting that they're back up to 88% of pre-pandemic levels, and yet, Dolph, you're 100% right. Real estate is never going to be the same again. The world has changed in some ways. I mean, look at these 3 market forces right now. You literally have right now before you 50-year low on mortgage rates. You literally have less houses available than ever before. And yet you have not a demand of 2 million homes as previously thought. Wall Street Journal just published that we're missing 4 million homes nearly in this country.
Exactly. And that is the very reason why the bubble's not going to burst. Before, when we had the bubble burst with the GFC, the global financial crisis, there was a situation where there was a surplus of housing stock. Now there's a chronic shortage.
I promise you that before tonight is done, inside this hour, you are going to walk away with a very different perspective on literally how to build wealth in the next 5 years. In fact, I'm dubbing this the year of the decade of the century to be in the game of real estate, because the roaring 20s of last century, they have come back. We're going to see the steepest climb in real estate values. We are going to see an incredible bubble burst years later down the road. And so there's 2 back-to-back insane opportunities to be in the game. So, Dolph, that's what I'm really excited that we're going to be doing tonight.
Right. And we are going to present with you the 5 strategies to figure out how to get in this game of real estate without any money. Now, to be sure, if you've got a lot of money, it's a lot easier to get into real estate. Anyone can buy a $20 million portfolio if you've got $20 million in the bank. But this is to show you how you can do it without money.
Well, and Dolph, I started with nothing. You started with nothing. We're all self-made, and that's really what tonight's focus is. And with that, before we jump into it, check it out. The contest, if you wanted to submit, we're ending it right now. Later at the end of the evening, we're going to run a poll. You get to pick the winner. We're going to Venmo $100 to whoever that winner is, or PayPal, or however it is. But you know what? Let's jump into what tonight really is about, because we're here to help you change your financial stars.
Right. And today's masterclass is to teach you the top 5 strategies for doing real estate in this year, 2021, without having to use any of your own money or credit.
And I got to tell you, I'm really excited about this personally, Dolph, because I teach 2 core strategies for no money down. But you literally have done how many?
Oh, I don't know. I think 20 or 30 easily.
And I said, Dolph, let's pick the top 5. We'll pick one of mine. Let's pick 4 of yours. So Dolph really is our guest mentor here this evening. And check out some of the other things that we're going to be doing. We're going to be tackling inflation. If you don't know what inflation is, I mean hyperinflation, as well as how to minimize your taxes with what's changing in the U.S. government, at least, this is going to be super eye-opening.
Right. And we're going to show you how to double your profits within 30 days, not 30 years or 30 months, within 30 days.
And by the way, that's a pretty crazy promise, Dolph.
It is.
Are we going to fulfill on that?
Absolutely, tonight.
And then here's the other one that Dolph brings that I think is just absolutely crazy. Getting 100% financing from banks.
Right.
Because when I do deals, Dolph, guess what? Residential deals, someone's got to put that 20% down payment.
Exactly.
But
And with commercial, it's even worse. 50% cash in.
Yeah, so you're definitely going to have to teach us of one of these 5 strategies how it is that you're going out there and actually getting 100% financing.
Right, and it's real. They're going to find that out tonight.
But I think, Dolph, the one thing that I'm really excited about here, guys, look at that screen there, second to last bottom bullet point. It says high profit commercial real estate. We're going to talk about 3 residential strategies. We're going to talk multifamily. We're talking commercial, though, because one deal has the chance literally to make you not $100,000, not $1 million, We're talking tens of millions of dollars or even more. We're going to show you actual examples of this. So I'm excited about this idea that someone might be watching saying, Kris, Dolph, I want the one and done, man. Like, how do I do like the single way and then just absolutely crush it? We're going to be that's going to be one of the 5 strategies that we're going to jam on tonight.
It's true. And not only that, it's fun to do this. So enjoy it while you do it.
We're going to have some fun. I think you can probably feel that, but you're going to want to write questions down because at the very end, guess what we're going to do? We're going to have super engaging live Q&A. At any point during this hour, drop your questions. Dolph and I, we've arranged our schedules where when it's over, we're going to be hanging tight. We're going to be staying as long and as late as we can so that we want to answer your specific questions. So just know my team right now is already starting to grab those questions. They're cataloging them, and then boom, we're going to go through and answer as many as we can.
Exactly. And in fact, when you stay to the end, you are going to get a gift. And as a thank you for attending our full masterclass, you'll get access to Kris's full real estate foundation digital class. And this is a course that normally sells for $500.
And Dolph, listen, I originally put this course together because when I would meet people, if you haven't made your first $1 million in real estate, chances are you're missing some core foundational knowledge that would make that even possible. So I put a course together that teaches the language and the basics and how to do it and how you structure deals. And I tell you what, that course has been an enabler for people to get in the game. So you know what, tonight, we always over deliver on value. We're giving that away to you, every single person at the end of this evening. So hang tight. We're going to make sure that that all goes down. However, I do have to start with, I'm going to call it the bad news. The bad news is I have to throw out this disclaimer. You guys need to understand, Dolph and I are not here to give you legal advice, tax advice. We're going to be talking about some of those things, but you need to understand that while our results are extraordinary, we're going to show you some of my students, some adult students that are killing it right now. But the only reason why their results are as extraordinary as they are is, guess what? They're implementers and they're action takers. If all you do is learn, but don't take any action, all bets are off. Don't expect good things to happen because tonight we're about to really unload on you what's really happening in this country. And right now we got CNN and Bloomberg and Forbes all coming on board supporting what I've been telling people for months. And guess what? The next 5 years really is the best time for you to be in the game of real estate based on what's happening here with 2021.
Right now, this year, it's happening. There is a shortage of 4 million homes. I really want to emphasize that because what that means is prices are going to continue going up. It's supply and demand, and things are going to happen so that they'll continue rising until eventually there's no shortage anymore.
And currently we have the shortage that we're talking about 4 million homes according to the Wall Street Journal, and guess what? I think some of that number is inflated. I think some of it's vanity. People that would like homes that don't have to have homes. There's people that are desperate for homes. Government's even trying to make it harder for investors to get deals because they want to make sure that families can get their homes. Check this out. Even record building, if we're breaking records on building homes year over year for 5 years, we cannot solve 4 million, we can't even solve a 2 million housing crisis.
Right.
Which means that price is going to keep on pushing.
It's going to keep on going up. That's the natural forces of supply and demand. But there's another factor coming into play.
Yes.
And that is that there is a chronic shortage at the moment of lumber and steel. Prices of those have been going up. In fact, lumber has gone up, you won't believe it, by 300%.
It's absolutely crazy. And that leaves everyone wondering, you should be wondering, if tonight we're talking about real estate, Kris, Dolph, when is the next crash going to be? And I'm going to tell you, well, I can't put an exact date on it. What you can do is track inventory shrinking. And when you get to the point where we've satisfied demand, then we can actually just begin building a bubble. Dave Ramsey goes as far as to say that it might even be 10 years away. Because check it out. Look at this, 50-year low rates. Last year, we had rates at 3.6 crazy low percent. Now they've dropped to 2.7, another 88 basis points. And on top of that, you have literally now every major news outlet that are saying the same things I've been screaming on my YouTube and social channels for this last year, basically saying, guess what? The national median Q4 of last year went from 280,000 to over 350. Now in most pockets around the country, it's now topping 400%. And I want to tell you something. You're going to say, it can't keep going up like that. You'll see it break 500. I believe you'll see it potentially even break 600,000, which means a tiny little baby house stands to gain $200,000 for you. How many of those do you have to do before you become a millionaire?
You only need 2 at $500,000.
Right, so 5 homes at $200,000 is going to help you clear that. And of course, this one is the funny one for me. Literally, Dave Ramsey, which, listen, if you follow me, you know Dave and I see eye to eye on nothing, except we just found some common ground. Dave, the most conservative financial guy on the planet, actually says, yeah, this housing bubble, there is none, and it's going to keep going up for the next 10 years. Literally, market conditions do not support any idea of there being any kind of bubble out there whatsoever.
So, Kris, this truly is the year of the decade of the century. I think history will show that the period we're going into now, the roaring 20s, as we like to refer to them, are going to be unique. You need to get into real estate right now.
And a lot of people don't understand this. And so if you've been watching on the sidelines, like, well, I learned from you, I watched from you, I brought Dolph on because I'm giving you dual firepower. I may be the king of single family with $1 billion in my pocket, but this guy is literally the king of commercial. And you put the two of us together. His biggest deal he ever worked on, guys, was over $2 billion. And I'm not even going to talk about like the presidents of other countries that consult with you for economic advice. So guys, tonight I think is going to be a really big treat because check it out. You get it. 90% of millionaires did so through real estate.
That is so true. In fact, when you look at all the rich, they either make their money or hold their wealth in real estate. And if that's what they do, that's what we should do as well.
But there's a reason right now why you want to hold real estate more than ever before. Yes, there's the pros. It's low risk, huge upside in this market. There's huge tax benefits. And guess what? Banks will freely give you money to invest with, so you can use debt to invest. But there are some disadvantages as well.
There are some disadvantages. Potentially, it can be expensive. But if we can show you ways of not making it expensive, we can eliminate that one. It can be a lot of work. I'm the first to admit that. It's easier to call a broker and buy some stocks.
Yes.
However, there are ways of minimizing that work. You can engage the services, for instance, of a property manager, and that way that one's eliminated. And thirdly, you can have transaction costs.
Yes, but I gotta say that tonight's goal is to actually help you get rid of all the cons and have all the upside. Don't be an idiot chasing the market like a whole bunch of people out there. You gotta play the market the right way, which is why we're gonna do this. We're gonna now teach you the 5 top strategies for real estate investing. Dolph and I got together and we basically made a list and we said, okay, if we're gonna do this one time only, Dolph and Kris, one night only, 1 hour plus probably another half-hour Q&A, what can we deliver that would be the most value because everyone needs to be in the game of real estate? And we came up with these 5 strategies.
Right, the top 5, we've got them listed here in reverse order. So we're gonna go down from the top. We're gonna start with cash-free real estate.
Wait, if this is a countdown, is that the worst that we're gonna be talking about tonight?
I wouldn't say it's the worst, it's the least good.
Okay, well listen, cash-free real estate, that is one of my core expertise. I'm gonna be jamming that out with you. But then number 2, we're gonna talk about inflation and hyperinflation and taxation.
Right.
When we show you what's happening to the value of the dollar, you are going to want to take every dollar almost out of the bank, out of a 401k, out of an IRA, out of the stock market, because in the next 5 years, you might literally lose half of the value of your buying power through this market force that we don't deal with very often, so people aren't really prepared for it. We're going to prepare you for that.
And right, and then we're going to talk about doubling your profits in the next 30 days. We've touched on this already.
Well, wait a second. That just sounds like a whole pile of manure, Dolph.
I know, but I made it 30 days because we've got a way of making $2 million overnight.
I know.
We might get onto that later.
We're going to talk about that. We're also going to talk about the 100% buying financing. And we're also going to talk about how to do commercial in a way where one deal could potentially set you for life. Dolph knows because he's done it countless times. So, Dolph, that's what we got in store. You guys excited? Dude, go to the chat and light it up. If you guys are pumped about what's going to be dropped on you, all you need is one gold nugget to change everything for you. That's what tonight is for me. Tonight is about giving you the information that can shift and change everything so you make better decisions, better financial decisions. And you know, at the end, Dolph and I are going to talk about how you might be able to go on a journey with us to actually invest with us in the game of crushing it during these next 5 years together.
Because at the end of the day, it only takes one deal to make $1 million.
Well, Dolph, as you like to say, the deal of the decade?
Comes along about once a week.
All right, everybody, check it out here. That phrase right there from you really changed my life when I got started. And there's another phrase that we'll be sharing shortly here. But let's talk about strategy number 1. Guys, pen and paper. I want you focused. Cash-free real estate. Here's what it looks like. It's called lease option with a twist. Think rent to own. If you've read my book, The Straight Path to Real Estate Wealth, I'm going to show you how to buy homes literally without a bank. And here's what it looks like. It starts with finding a motivated seller. A motivated seller is someone that has a problem and they don't know how to solve it, but they do own real estate. And real estate could become the collateral to solving a problem. So for example, how many people have lost a job? How many people have inherited a home they don't want? How many people thought they wanted to be a landlord and then decided, ouch, I do not like doing this? How many people have experienced a job transfer or a divorce? There's so many reasons, or just a debt, an unexpected debt. I can't pay for my kids' braces. And all of a sudden, they become motivated to want to sell their property. And you know what? A lot of people can just listen and sell their homes. But there's a percentage of people that won't solve their problems that way. 1% of the homes in the market are represented by motivated sellers. And so here's the strategy. In a moment, I'll show you how to find them. But check this out. Look at the screen right now. Imagine on the left that there was a house that you could buy from a motivated seller that literally would allow you to do it with no money. But they have a mortgage, and that's $1,000 a month. And then there's you on the right, and there's your profit centers. Look at the middle. You take that empty house, you put a family in there, and you don't rent it. You do a rent to own. I'm going to help this family buy this house. So they give you $5,000 up front. That is kind of the low minimum that I ever got as I've done this. But then guess what? They're also paying $1,500 a month. Now, you don't have to be a brilliant math scientist to know that, hey, if I have to pay $1,000 a month to the motivated seller, if the new family is giving me $1,500 a month, look at the far right. That's $5,000 up front, and that's $500 a month. You're going to meet some people later today that have done this collectively 9 times just in the last several months, and they're killing it with the numbers that you're about to see. So here's what it really is, and this is this one strategy. This is the lease option with a twist. It means that you find a deal. I'll show you how in just a minute. Then up front, you get paid $5,000. I like that because it feels a little like a flip.
And by the way, that $5,000 is like an option fee. It gives them the right to buy the property from you in the future.
Yes, which we want them to do.
Right, and they willingly pay the $5,000.
Then you've got the $500 a month cash flow, which, by the way, does not suck. For some people, that's a car payment. For some people, that really helps them get out of debt. I know it did for me when me and my wife got started. We used the cash flow in our first 2 deals to eliminate our debt in 6 months. It felt so good. But lastly, you're going to sell this house someday. And when you sell it, hello, you know what's happening in the market right now? Literally tens of thousands of dollars of potential profit. You start adding that up. There's money up front. There's money along the way. There's money at the end. And look on the screen, guys. That's my first house there. This was the first of 25 homes that created financial freedom just using this strategy alone. So I know some of you are sitting there and saying, okay, Kris, I get that there's motivated sellers out there. How do I actually find one? Check it out. This is how you find a good deal. It's 4 steps. Number 1, call for rent ads. Now, wait a second, Kris, I thought I'm trying to buy a house. No, you're looking for a motivated seller. And guess what those motivated sellers are often doing? They feel obligated maybe to keep their house. They don't know what to do with it, so they rent it out. They are a don't-wanter of a landlord. And so if you call them up and just ask, hey, can I rent this long-term and do a rent-to-own like Kris talks about in his book? You will find, not on the 1st or 5th or 10th, you might have to call 20, 30, 50, maybe even 100 of these. Dolph's the one that taught me, hey, if you could make 100 grand, would you be willing to make 100 phone calls? So you might find on call 20 or call 100 that someone says, oh my goodness, you'll rent this and this is something that you'll eventually buy from me. Let's sign on the deal. Take this problem off of my hands. And this is the math. Eyes on the screen. On the left, you have the motivated seller. On the far right, you have the rent-to-own tenant. And in the middle, the green stuff is what you keep. So let's go through the 3 lines. Number 1, the motivated seller gives you a down payment. You don't have to give them anything to get in the deal. Now, you might have to do a deal where you have to get $1,000 down, but there's deals where you put literally nothing down. The family on the right side puts $5,000 down. You've sandwiched $5,000 in the middle. On the left, the motivated seller wants a $1,000 a month payment. On the right, you've got the rent-to-own tenant paying $1,500. You in the middle are sandwiching $500 a month of cash flow. Then let's just say that the motivated seller says, I'll sell this thing to you for $150,000. It's worth more than that. And let's just say ultra conservatively that this family ends up buying it for $200,000 down the road. There's $50,000 sandwiched in the middle. There could be $100,000 sandwiched in the middle. Frankly, there could be more. But when you add that up, you're looking at a $50,000 to $100,000 profit because of what you knew, not how much money you had. That's the first strategy that I want to share tonight because I owe my financial freedom to this particular strategy because it worked for me. And because it worked once, I did it over and over again.
And it's a strategy that works for many people.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, Dolph, let's talk about this second strategy. I'm super pumped about it.
All right. Strategy number 2, which is really number 4 in our reverse countdown, is cashing in on inflation and minimizing taxes. You see, your cash is rapidly losing value because the value of money is going down.
Why, Dolph? Why is this happening right now?
Well, right now we're printing so much money. We're
Trillions
printing
and trillions of dollars.
And we're not creating more assets to absorb that. So there are more dollars chasing the same number of assets. The price of everything's going to go
Well,
up.
and Dolph, this is something that a lot of people don't know, is that if you just create more money supply, we've been doing this for a long time. It's called financial easement. That's a word that keeps people stupid because they don't know what it means. It means that over the last 100 years, that our dollar loses on average 3.1% of its value year over year for the last 100 years. But once in a while, you get crazy economies like we're in, and then you get a different kind of inflation. It's called hyperinflation, which means you're not losing 3%, you could be losing 10, 15, 20, 30%, and it's devastating if you have cash in a 401k, IRA, or etc. But it's brilliant conversely, if you have your money where?
Only in one place, and that is in real estate, because the value of real estate will also be going up, and yet you've got a mortgage to buy a lot of it. And the mortgage always stays the same.
This part is crazy. I want to show you the math. Dolph, look at this. I actually had my team say, okay, let's just assume that we're not doing 3.1%. Let's assume that we've got crazy 20% hyperinflation for 5 years in a row. This is an illustrative example. On the left, someone says, I'm going to keep 50,000 in the bank or the 401k or an IRA or the stock market. On the right, they're putting 50,000 into real estate as a down payment. Now, I want you to understand this. Look what happens on the left. If $50,000 experiences 20% inflation,
it goes down in value, down to 40,000 within a year.
And then the next year, 32,000, and the next year, 25,000, and the year after,
it's only 20,000, a bit over 20.
You've lost over half of the value of your money due to this market force that has already started in the last 7 months. However, look what happens if you put it in real estate. You just transfer it into a hard, tangible asset.
Right. You put that same 50,000 into a property, and it might buy you a $250,000 home.
And the next year, it's worth 300,000. At 20%, the next year, 360. The next year, 430. The next year, 518. Guess what? It's more than doubled. Your money liquid will lose more than half of its value with this illustration. It will gain more than double its value. So literally, where are you keeping your money? Because most people, 401ks, IRAs, stocks, bank account, cryptos, and I just want to share, keeping your money in those liquid kind of accounts is super, super risky right now.
It is so risky, and keeping it in real estate is the way to go, because you said it would double from 250 to over 500. But remember, we started with 50,000. Our 50,000 cash went to over $500,000.
Yes.
So it was a factor of 10.
So our money didn't double. It 10x because of the leverage with the bank.
Right.
Thank you for pointing that out. Guys, eyes on the screen. Look at this. You better be asking some questions about this during our Q&A, because I'm planning on my baby single-family homes in the next 5 years to make $200,000 a home. I have not publicly disclaimed that just yet. I'm just telling you right now, in the markets where I'm buying real estate, where I'm buying these homes for $180,000, $200,000, $220,000, I'm personally expecting these homes to be worth $200,000 more over the next 5 years. I might not be the accurate profit on that. It could be less, but I think it could also certainly be more. And I think people are going to ask themselves, man, if I made $200,000 on a house, think about it right now if you own a house. If it goes up $200,000, you might be thinking, man, how much would my houses have to go up for me to become a millionaire? Well, if I had 5 houses going up 200,000, guess what?
You're there.
You'd be there.
Yeah.
And so tonight, if you are working on making your first million, this is what you need to know. If you've already made your first million, then on working towards your next $10 million, the next 10 for me was way easier than the first million. Make it easy through the game of real estate with really good timing.
That is so true. And the first million truly is always the hardest. So let's talk about this, minimizing taxes, because in any other business other than real estate that I know of, Kris, if you make $10,000 net cash income after paying all your expenses, you will be paying tax on that. Whereas if you have real estate and you make $10,000 of net income after paying all your cash expenses, it's not a foregone conclusion that you'll have to pay tax on that.
Adolph, this is something a lot of people don't understand. They don't understand that when you make a lot of money, you have a silent business partner that is going to tax you. It's called the government. And right now, Biden is looking at doubling capital gains, which means that we'd be going from 20% to over 40%. If you're making over $1 million, we're talking 43%. And so all of a sudden, it's like the government says, you take all the risk, you make these choices, but when you win, we win too. Except it doesn't work that way in the game of real estate.
It doesn't, because what they do there is they offer you what's called a phantom deduction. You can claim things called depreciation. It doesn't cost you that, but you can claim it as if it did cost you. So you might have that same $10,000 of pre-tax income, but after you've deducted your $12,000 of depreciation, on paper you're making a loss. You pay no tax. In fact, you get a tax rebate.
So just think about this. Hyperinflation could erode the value of your dollar by half. In real estate, it could 10x it, but all the cash flow that you earn becomes tax-free through depreciation.
Legally.
Yeah, legally. So without going deeply into what that means, I just want to say this. I have not paid tax on any cash flow I've earned on all the properties I've ever done from the very beginning, because the depreciation has always been bigger than that tax write-off of the cash flow. And then it's always left money left over. So right now, if you're worried about hyperinflation and taxes, those are just 2 more reasons for you to actually say, man, it is time for me to be in the game of real estate.
It's so true. So that brings us to our third strategy. The third strategy is doubling your profits in 30 days. And with some simple tips and tricks, you can double your real estate profits in a short period of time using little money, and creativity is the way to go with this.
Now, Dolph, you actually wrote a book on this. You wrote
Oh my
the
gosh.
book on not just 2 ways or 5 ways. You're only going to share a couple tonight.
I've always said there are 101 ways to massively increase the value of your real estate without spending much money, and I wrote the book with that very title.
So just share a couple of the strategies right now. What's this first one?
The simplest one is just painting a house. It may cost $1,000 to paint a house, and then the value of that house can go up by $25,000 or $30,000. And Kris, if someone hasn't yet painted their way into a $30,000 profit on a weekend, and here's the real kicker, you don't even need to paint it yourself. You can get a couple of students to do it for you. If you haven't had a weekend like that, it's time you replan your weekend.
I absolutely love that. Just a little bit can go such a long way. And Dolph, I know later you're going to talk about how $20 literally overnight turned into $2 million. That sounds kind of unfair and sensational, but we're going to actually prove it.
Well, we'll get there. But first, let's talk about what we can do that's perhaps more within the wheelhouse of most people. Imagine you have a rental property and it doesn't have a garage or a garage or a carport. For most tenants, their biggest asset is obviously not their home they're renting. Their biggest asset is their car. So without even a carport, their car's in the sun and the sleet and the rain and the snow. So by building a carport, the tenants will appreciate it and pay more rent. I can build a carport anywhere in this country for $1,000. It's simply 4 posts, 1 in each corner with the roof on top. If you're really cheap, you can get away with 3 posts they get. But you build this carport, and then you can easily get $80 a month extra in rent. Tenants are willing to pay that. Well, 80 a month times 12 months is $960. Call it 1,000. In other words,
So real quick, you put $1,000 out there for this, and you recuperate that money in the first year.
yes, 100% return on your cash. But just like they say in infomercials, but wait, it gets even better. Imagine if you build the carport, you haven't paid for it yet, you don't use your own cash, and then we get an appraiser in to get a new appraisal. And the appraiser is going to say, this house has gone up in value by about $10,000 because of the carport, right? The tenants don't have to have their car in the sun. So you go to the bank and say, Mr. Bank Manager, I've got an increase in equity of $10,000. Will you lend me some money on this? And they'll say, yes, banks are in the game of lending you money. So they'll give you $7,000 on that increased equity. You take $1,000 of that $7,000 to pay for the carport. It's now paid
And
for.
and the other $6,000 goes in your pocket just because you knew how to work the system.
Is it earned income? No, no income tax on it. Is this the sale of something? No, no capital gains tax, no sales tax. It is tax-free in your money in your pocket to do with as you see fit.
Well, listen, Dolph, this is just first of all, that's amazing. And yet that is just 2 of 101 strategies.
Correct.
So more is going to be on that later. But let's shift gears right now because, guys, with our time at the end, we want to have as much Q&A as possible. We're going to now talk about 100% bank financing. I'm not going to lie. I think this should almost be number 1, except number 1 is even cooler than this.
It's true.
I did not, I want to disclaim, I did not know this was possible until Dolph started mentoring me recently. And I have to tell you that the most dangerous information is what you don't know. My life, when I was poor, when I was a college kid, when I had no money, when no one believed in me, and I found my wife in absolute tears because I didn't have the money to put food on the table, that was the moment when I said, this is my why. I will make sure I never have to feel this way again. Dolph, that was where my motivation came from. It came from really deep pain.
Right.
And since then, I've been on a journey to learn everything that I don't know. And I can't believe that I've done $1 billion worth of real estate before you schooled me on literally how to get a bank to come up with all the money on a deal. Pay attention, school is in session.
All right, and they do it willingly, by
Yes.
the way, these banks. So most people, when they consider commercial real estate, they say, it's too tough because often I see a vacant building and I don't want to touch a vacant building. And secondly, banks only lend, as we said before, about 50% of the value of the property in the form of a loan. So how do we overcome this? Well, to do that, we have to study how it works. And Kris, it's like this, on your screen on the left. The normal formula for a residential real estate investment is as follows. The ROI, or return on investment, is the rent divided by the purchase price.
And guys, real quick, that's a very basic formula, and here's what you need to understand about it. Literally, the rent is determined by the market, not me, not the investor.
Correct.
Not the tenant. The
Yep.
market will tell you what fair rent is, and the market will also tell you what a fair price on a house is, which means that you really have very little control over your ROI. You can control where you buy, you can control whether you get a discount, but bottom line is your ROI gets otherwise relatively fixed and you cannot control it.
You cannot. If you buy in this suburb, in that city, you know that the returns are going to be about 6.7% or 5.2%, whatever it is.
But commercial, as you taught me, does not work that way.
Correct, because the formula, you see it on the right, is slightly different.
Guys, screenshot this. You want
The
this.
formula is the value of a commercial building equals the rent divided by the cap rate. Now, cap rate is short for capitalization rate. It literally means the rate at which you capitalize the rent to arrive at the value. So think of it this way. If you've got a tenant paying $100,000 a year in rent, and if cap rates are 10%, then $100,000 divided by 10% is $1 million. That's what that building is worth.
Now, everyone, just pause, put your eyes on the screen, snapshot this one as well. Look at what it says. It says there, here it is. Here's that $100,000 of rent. You times it by the cap rate, which is decided by the market, just like the other two factors in single family. And because of that, it says this is valued at $1 million, and the bank says, well, guess what? We will actually give you half of the money for that, which you know.
Right, so if the building's for sale for $1 million and the bank will only give us half, we can't afford to buy it unless we've got that $500,000 of cash in the bank. But now imagine this. Imagine we figure out a different kind of tenant for this building. We change a thrift shop into an upmarket coffee shop or something like that. And now we're getting $200,000 a year in rent. We divide it by the same cap rate of 10%. The building is now worth $2 million. And if we go to the bank and say, please give us a 50% mortgage, they will give us the $1 million, which is the purchase price.
So guys, bottom line, this is what I really want you to get. Dolph opened my eyes to this. In single family real estate, ROI, it's the market determines those components. In commercial, there are also two components, and the market chooses one of them, the cap rate. But they don't get to decide the tenant and what they pay. When a tenant pays double because you got creative and found a new use for the building, guess what happens? You double the value. You could literally make $1 million overnight, and all of a sudden the bank says, well, guess what? This appraises for more, so guess what? You don't have to bring any money to the table. Is it even possible to do a deal, Dolph, where you actually get paid
Oh, it's not
to
only
do the
possible,
deal?
I've done it, and I tell you what, it's a rare moment of joy when you put money in your pocket that you have left over from doing a deal, and the bank willingly gave it to you.
Bottom line, guys, write this down, bottom of the screen. If you can double the rent, then you double the value. And if you can double the value, the banks now will be in a position where they could potentially literally put up every penny, potentially even more, and have leftover money.
That's true, and that's why most people, when they look at commercial property, they shun the ones that are vacant. I, on the other hand, covet them. I hunt them out. I want the vacant properties.
Yeah, so this is kind of crazy. A vacant property, remember, its value is determined by having a tenant. So if there's no tenant, then if it's vacant, guess what happens to its value? It's down. All you got to do is find a blank building, put someone in it, increase the value, and the bank might literally cover the entire note. There might even be money left. Dude, can we do an example?
Let's do an example.
By the way, I hope you guys are loving this. Check this out. We're going to slow down. You're like, Kris, whoa. We only talk about single family. Why are we doing commercial? Because I'm going to show you in a moment how you could make tens of millions of dollars on a single deal. And for you that has been begging for a bigger opportunity to do less and earn more, this is for you, my friend.
So here is a building, Kris, I think everyone would agree this isn't a particularly attractive building. In fact, I think you could say it's ugly. But I always say the true beauty of real estate is not in the exterior of the building, but it's in the balance sheet.
Yeah, so in other words, it's not like a home that you live in. Your commercial building could be like rot socks and ugly, but it still might be making you crazy cash cow money.
Well, it can do. So this one was vacant. It had been vacant for 3 years. It was a funeral parlor. In a funeral parlor, they have a viewing room and a slumber room and a chilling room. No marks for guessing what they keep chilled in a chilling room.
Okay.
No one wants to think about it. So I negotiated a price that was quite low because it was empty. I didn't buy it yet.
Yeah.
And I employed someone at the princely rate of $8 an hour to phone every funeral director in the area going further and further afield until she found someone who said, yes, I've always wanted to operate in that area. And I said to him, there is an empty funeral parlor available. Check it out. If you want to rent it, we might be able to do a deal whereby if you sign up on a long-term lease, I will have a crack at buying it. So he looked at it and he said, oh, I love it. Yes, I want to be the tenant there. I said, all right, well, let's sign this heads of agreement. And he said, not so fast, Dolph. I'll only do it if you give me a long-term lease.
Oh, that's exactly what you wanted.
It's what you want, right? So that's exactly what happened. But by the time he signed up on a long-term lease at $30,000 a year, the value went up, and I got the conservative bank appraiser to go in. They appraised it at $240. They gave me a 66% mortgage on it, and my purchase price was only $170. They funded everything but the last $10,000. So full disclosure, I did put $10,000 into it.
Okay, so this one you were really close to having the bank pay for everything.
Correct.
There was $10,000 left over, but let me ask you, how much net cash flow did you get a year?
Well, I was collecting $30,000 in rent. I didn't have to pay the outgoings. The tenant paid that. All I had to pay was a mortgage. It was about 15 at the time, so I was left with 15,000 net at the end of the year.
So your entire down payment was paid back in the first 6, 7, 8 months?
Yes, I was earning 150% of what this building cost me every year.
Now, I just want you to think about that for a second, because when I do real estate, single family, I'm going for 25 to 35 and 40 and 50% ROI. Dolph has strategies that he's sharing with you to actually be more aggressive. And that's one of the reasons why I wanted Dolph to be here, because I'm now engaging in in commercial deals with Dolph. In fact, we're trying to catch a helicopter ride in the next 24, 48 hours to go check out a really hot deal. And that deal that you put in out of state on that other one literally might be a deal that we want to be taking down. So because I'm doing this with Dolph, I want to make sure that you get in on the action. This is a great example of literally doing deals. And I want you to look at the formula for a second. Find something vacant that's commercial, its value will be dropped. The longer it's vacant, the lower it drops. By the way, the building that we're in right now, it dropped from $3 million down to under $1 million by the time I bought it.
Because it was vacant,
Because
right?
it was vacant.
Yeah.
Then obviously I changed all that and boom, that value shot up. So now we're doing this as a system. So Dolph, show us another one, because someone's got to be watching here saying, wait a second, Kris, commercial is expensive stuff. This funeral doesn't sound like it's very expensive, but like, doesn't real estate have to be crazy expensive?
Well, you would think so, but this is an example, Kris, of my cheapest commercial building ever. And it was a shop that sold fish, like raw fish. It was called a wet fish supply shop, so not cooked fish, not fishing chips. And it was on a street corner. It was advertised at $59,000.
Wow.
And so I went and looked at that.
That's crazy cheap, by the way.
It's crazy cheap. And I sent the bank in to appraise it, and they agreed. They said it's got to be worth $80,000. And they gave me a 70% mortgage. 70% of 80 is $56,000. The purchase price was $59,000. I only had $3,000 in this one. And it was generating net after all expenses, mortgage and everything, $5,000. Now, I don't know what you think, but if you pull $5,000 out of a $3,000 investment
that sounds
every
like,
year, that's like 160%.
That's 160%
I love
ROI.
it. And that was on a $59,000 purchase. I don't think it's possible to buy houses for $59,000 at the moment.
Guys, listen up. If you're loving this, we're about to kick it into high gear, because now we're on to our 5th strategy. And then remember, we're doing Q&A at the end, where we're going to help you figure out how maybe one deal could completely change your life. And you're going to meet some people that are doing that as well. Let's talk about the number 1 strategy. It's called high profit commercial. It's not medium profit. It's not okay profit. It's insane levels of profit. And Dolph, you've done crazy big deals. You've made crazy good money. Just one deal could change everything for you. So dude, launch in and share this.
Well, this is not just modifying the kind of tenant we have in there. This is modifying the use of the property. And I've got some photos down the bottom there, Kris. You see a lake there. I had 168 acres of barren land in the desert. And I thought, what can I do with this? Well, I dug a big hole. It took 3 months to dig with 24 earth-moving machines. And then after digging this hole for 3 months, I spent another 3 months filling it with water. But what I created was a couple of water ski lakes, and we created a water ski resort, basically.
Wow.
The value of the remaining land, after you take out the 24 acres that was submerged, went up in value a lot more than the value of the land that was submerged.
Do you mind just sharing how much it actually increased in value? Because I'm guessing it probably didn't just double in value.
No, it was a factor of 5 or something. It was millions of dollars. It was cool. The next one there shows me in a particular piece of land. It used to be a sheep farm, and sheep farming was big business, and then all of a sudden the bottom dropped out of the market, and every sheep farmer went broke. So these farms were being sold literally for pennies on the dollar. And what I did is I bought them, I planted a crop. I waited 5 years to get my first harvest, and there we had it. We had grapes, and I'd created vineyards, and the value of the vineyards was about 10 times higher than the sheep farms.
Oh my gosh, that's so amazing. So this is really, you're only limited by your creativity.
That is so true.
And there's so many other examples of what you've done here. I see mineral rights, where you told me of literally owning land and pulling, oil out of it.
And gas, yes.
But I want to go into 3 very specific deals in just a moment that you've done, because I think these are going to be the best examples of training everyone here tonight. And I just want to be clear on why we're talking about commercial. Hello? Have you understood like what's happening in the world with COVID? Toys R Us is out of business, Shopko, Kmart, Smith's. Like right now, commercial, we're seeing empty buildings everywhere. And yet, guess what? Is that a problem?
No, most people are saying, boy, I'm glad I don't own that. And I'm thinking, how can
That
I own
that?
Yeah.
I absolutely love that. So dude, let's talk about 3 deals. Let's talk about this freaking ugly warehouse. Empty warehouse, all
Right.
of them for sale.
So we've said if you've got a vacant commercial building, the value is low. All we need to do is get a tenant. So how do you get a tenant for an ugly warehouse? Well, I'm telling you, Kris, if you and I owned an empty warehouse and a sea of similarly ugly, vacant, empty warehouses, we would have a tenant before anyone else. And the way I do it is I take the manager's office, because who's going to decide which warehouse to rent? It's not the president of the company in the head office in New York.
Yeah, they don't care.
Paris.
It's the manager that's going to be managing.
It's going to be the manager. So I make that manager's office the most salubrious office he's ever seen, with commercial grade carpet, LED lighting, a coffee machine. That's
Everybody, I hope you wrote that down.
a 60-inch
Salubrious.
Yes. A 60-inch LCD screen, and we tell him it's good for watching corporate training videos, and he knows he's not going to watch corporate training videos.
But you know,
on there.
he doesn't want to sit in some dark, dank,
Right.
empty hole in the ground. You created a little palace for him.
This is the nicest palace. So he looks inside our office after he's seen the offices of a lot of other warehouses, and he thinks to himself, subconsciously not, call it bribery and corruption or not, if I lease this warehouse,
Yes.
this is where I'm going to be sitting for 40 hours a week for the next Lord knows how many years. He says, I'll take it. And
Well-
he hasn't even asked the rent.
Oh, that's amazing. Wow. Just, it's so incredible that when you see these deals and you see the creativity of what Dolph's done, check out this next one. We're talking about a deal that can change everything for you. Dolph, you bought this property for $17 million. Now, obviously, we're talking about bigger plays, but remember, one play could be the financial freedom play, because what happened? You bought a property, and did this property have a problem?
It had a problem. It had a lack of tenants. We only did one thing to this building, and that is we found a tenant.
Dude, are you telling me that you bought this property for $17 million, found a tenant probably before you bought it, and then later, because you found a tenant, grew it to $44 million?
Well, full disclosure, it was a very good tenant. It was a government tenant, which means that if they go bankrupt, everyone's in trouble. The whole country's going down the gurgler. But this is all we did. We got a tenant, and that's what happened to the value.
At some point, you got to be watching and thinking, Kris, you get lucky, and Dolph, you get lucky. But man, you guys get lucky over and over and over again. Let me prove that there's no luck and that you can do this by asking this one question. Dolph, how did you take $20 and turn it overnight into $2 million?
Kris, normally when I say this, people say, Dolph, we followed you up to now. It sounds reasonable, but this is just beyond the realms of possibility. This is simply not possible. So firstly, Kris, let me explain what the $20 was spent on. It was spent on a bucket of white paint and a brush.
Wow, was there gold in that paint, or
No,
it's
it
platinum?
was
or-
ordinary paint. But it was in Jakarta, which has a big congestion problem with traffic. The drive from this commercial building to the airport should have been 45 minutes, but because of congestion, it could take 6 to 8 hours.
Jeez.
What I did with this bucket
That's
of
worse
paint
than
is
LA.
I went onto the roof. Yes, it's the worst in the world. It was a flat concrete roof. I painted a big white circle and the letter H in the middle, and I turned it into a helipad. And now you could get to the airport in 20 minutes. And the rental, converted from Indonesian rupiah and square meters, it was about $14 a foot, and the rental went up to $16 a foot. Not a great lift, but the tenants thought it was worthwhile. Either they were going to use the helicopter service, or they had bragging rights. Our building has a helipad. So it was 100,000 square feet of building times $2 a foot lift. The rental went up by $200,000 a year. And you divide that by a 10% cap rate, and you've got a $2 million lift overnight.
Yeah, now, real quick, like, Dolph, this is so crazy. But guys, Dolph, since he's been mentoring me hardcore in commercial over the last couple of months, it is story after story after story after story. I remember when we were in Provo downtown out to dinner, and we looked at that vacant property right there, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is an illness. He can't stop himself.
You can't stop me. These guys were all waiting in line, complaining about the line to get ice cream.
Meanwhile, Dolph's working a deal.
Yeah, because it was there.
Yeah.
It was staring at us.
Oh my gosh. Well, listen, guys, tonight what we've done is we've shared with you 5 residential and 5 commercial real estate ways of getting in the game. But you know what? We have missed the most important form of real estate. And I understand what time it is. And in a moment, we're going to share some really unique ways that we can do real estate with you guys. More importantly, we're going to do that Q&A. But first, I just want to take 2 minutes and let's do this. Let's talk about a very important kind of real estate that resides inside the body.
Right, because the most valuable piece of real estate is the 6 inches, give or take an inch or two, between your right ear and your left ear. Because it's what you create in that space, Kris, that ultimately will determine your happiness and your net worth.
You know, when Dolph and I got together, we were looking for common ground, and believe it or not, it wasn't real estate. It was who he was as a person, his character, really just love who he is. But beyond that, it's the years of personal development training that he has done for people all over the world that really brings and unites us together. Here's the problem. When you ask, why aren't people doing real estate? Is it really money? Is it really credit? Is it technical training? You know what I really find? It's the mindset, and it's what you do or do not believe is possible. I'm going to put something up on the screen in a minute. It's probably the most valuable thing that we're going to share right now. I'm going to share with you how to break through the top 10 limiting financial beliefs that Dolph and I have found withhold people from actually making money in real estate. Because check them out on the screen right now. They're on the left side. Snapshot this. People believe, I don't have enough money, which is a total lie. We've just proven that 10 times over. I can't afford it. Man, you were probably told that as a child, but you're continuing that rotten tradition. Number 3, money can't buy happiness, or money is the root of all evil.
Right, or money creates more problems. Money doesn't matter. The economy is down. Making money isn't fun. There's not enough money for everyone.
Guys, these lies, which is what I call them, if you choose to believe them, they don't serve you, they don't build you up, they don't instill confidence, they don't make you want to go out there and freaking financially own your own destiny. What they do is they put this burden that makes it hard to even see anything that Dolph, listen, if you've listened to Dolph tonight or anything I've shared, you're like, oh yeah, you guys are so lucky. It's like, you lack some training, but you lack some mindset. We're going to solve that for you later tonight, but I want to solve it for you right now. So Dolph and I said, here's the quick little breakthrough that we're going to give you. Snapshot this. These are 10 beliefs that are counter arguments to the limiting beliefs. And if you will wake up early every morning and recite this with gusto, with good energy, with good juju, you will eventually convince your mind that they are true. Check them out. Instead of I don't have enough money, there is money everywhere around me. Because by the way, Dolph, can I just ask, when you want to do a deal, is there always money available for a really good deal?
I have never not been able to do a deal because there's no money. If you don't have it yourself, you can't get the bank to give it. Just run an ad in the newspaper, if you remember what a newspaper is, but put the word out there, put it on social media. Hot deal, I need money. They'll line up to give it to you.
This afternoon, Dolph has shared with me 2 really hot deals. And I'm like, I don't care how much money they need, because the deals are so good that if they actually really vet out, I will find the money, I will put money in, you might want to throw some of your money in some of these deals. Pay attention, check this one out. Second limiting belief, I can't afford it. That's bullcrap, that's not gonna help you, that's only gonna hurt you. Instead believe, I create the resources for everything I choose. Instead of money can't buy happiness, I choose to be happy. By the way, regardless of your income, you've got to figure out how to be happy so that you're not reliant or conditioned based on money alone. I'm not going to read the rest of them. I want you to snapshot it. Here's what I want you to promise me that you are going to do for me and Dolph. I want you to promise that every morning for the next 30 days, you will wake up and for 5 minutes, run through these positive belief lists over and over again, brainwashing, if you will, taking your brain out, giving it a good wash, training it, rehearsing, practicing the beliefs that will open your perception to greater possibility. Because when you believe that it's out there, when you believe that you can get it, when you believe that you can, when you believe that it's possible, only then can it become possible. The real estate, Dolph is really right. It starts with the real estate between your ears.
Right, and Kris, we haven't rehearsed this. I want to add one thing.
Yeah,
Don't just recite them, but recite them out loud.
Yes.
And to make it even more powerful, recite them out loud in front of another human being. If you live alone, call someone on the phone and say, I know I'm doing this weird thing that Kris and Dolph asked me to do, but I need to do it in front of another person because it will make it more real and you will get better results.
Now listen, you might think that that Dolph and I are kind of cray-cray, but check this out. This isn't from us, guys. This has been around for a long time. We are literally just preachers of the truth. Check it out. Napoleon Hill, whatever the mind of man can conceive and bring itself to believe, it can achieve, right? And
It's so true. And Earl Nightingale, one of the granddaddies of this industry, said, you become what you think about most.
or from Thomas Ford, if you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. It is your thinking that makes it so. Bottom line, every thought you're thinking adds up. So if you have stinking thinking, you got to exile those thoughts and those ideas. Every thought adds up. Every thought is heard. So if you're not thinking positive about money, don't expect positive things about money to actually happen to you.
That is so true. So we've helped thousands of students build wealth through real estate and mindset training. In fact, mindset training, as you just said, Kris, is the more important of the two.
Yes, and you're about to meet a couple of people in just a second here that have been slaying it the last several months in real estate, but I want you to pay attention not to their amazing story and how much money they're making. I want you to pay attention to the energy of how you feel and how you guess they likely think positively, because check this out. Let's actually bring up our first one. Hopefully Noelia is going to be joining us here. We've asked her to come on live. She says, my husband introduced me to Kris 7 months ago from YouTube. We read his book, then we got his program, his contracts. We bought 6 houses with no money whatsoever. Noelia, are you there?
Hi, Kris. Hi.
Hey, what's up, you guys?
Hello,
I'm so glad to have you both here. Welcome, welcome.
Hello, hello. Hi, Kris. Hi, everyone.
Hey, listen, you guys have been such a great inspiration. Like many of my students, you took the program, you ran with it, you followed it. But there's just, before we ask about the real estate, what's your drive and what's your motivation? What has inspired you guys to hustle and do a deal per month?
Yes, Kris, for us, we believe the word of God. And for us, we were in the system of working a job and living a limited life. And just knowing that there was more for us and taking those first few scary steps, and here we are.
Well,
Yes, I believe that.
Go ahead, Noelia.
I apologize. I believe that God has more victory for everybody. I don't think that he wants us to be the tail. The word of God says that we are the head and not the tail. And that most jobs, you're usually not the head and you're at the tail of things. And so we have to move into what God has for us. But that's if we have faith. We have to take the step. If God might have victories for us, but if we're not taking any action, then how can we get what belongs to us? We got to take it by force.
Yeah, 100%, Noelia, and I love that. I want to ask you both just a couple of questions to confirm some things. I know that you guys have done 6 deals, basically a deal per month. I just want to confirm, have you been putting money into these deals, or have you been just following the system and literally doing no money down real estate?
No money down, Kris. We've just been paying for the signs.
Good, awesome. Has it been
Yes.
harder than you thought? Has it been easier? Has the system worked according to the training?
Honestly, it's been easier than we thought. We were very excited, whenever we first read the book and started putting things together, from your training and videos. But truly, whenever we started taking action and seeing things open up, really it's been exciting.
Well, and
the toughest, I apologize.
Go ahead.
The toughest step is the first step, right? So it's making that phone call. And I remember when I made that first call, I prayed and God gave me success right first call. I got an appointment. I'm like, wow, this just happened. And on the first appointment, we got the house. We were signing and I'm like, wow, this is really happening that quick. Your life can change.
Well, listen, thank you both so much for being here. So awesome. And I just want to share that today, as we've been talking about commercial real estate, the same steps that you've been taking to do the lease option program, if you put the same type of energy and faith into these commercial deals, you'll be able to do deals just like this. And guess what? They're going to reward you potentially 10 or 100 times more. So I hope today is also a little bit mind expansive. But for anyone that's like, hey, we're just talking about one of Kris's strategies, which is his lease option strategy. If anyone listening tonight is thinking, man, does it really work? What would you tell them?
It absolutely works. You've got to take action. You got to realize that there's a market. You got to realize that people want what is being offered, and it absolutely works. And we're excited. We've put a tenant in house number 6, but we're excited about getting to number 30 before we know it.
Well, listen,
nothing is gonna.
Go ahead.
Nothing is going to change if you don't change.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
So really, that's one of the most limited beliefs is choosing not to be discomforted.
Yeah.
Discomfort does not equal freedom. Freedom comes with some discomfort, and I'm not chasing comfort. I'm gonna chase to grow.
Wow.
So
Well said.
that's what we gotta do.
I love it. Listen, you guys have done such a great job, just also showing an amazing positive attitude. Guys, I got one more that I want to share. Let's thank them both. Thank you guys so much for being here. And then check this up here. Guys, come to the screen for just a second here. I also want to introduce you to Dan and his business partner, Eric. They've done 3 deals since they got started this last year, but look at the cash flow. $2,500+ of cash flow every month on just 3 deals. They're leveraging the same system. So, by the way, I just want to come real quick to Eric and Dan. Dan, are you there?
Yeah, we're here.
Awesome. What's up, guys? Dude, Eric's rocking his rocking hair. I love it, my brother. Awesome. Listen, so glad to have you guys here. Listen, I want to come to you, Eric, on this first deal. You told me that it started off as basically like a wholesale and it wasn't working. And so you said, you know what? Let's just kind of twist this on its head and do a little bit of Kris magic system on it. What happened?
Definitely. Well, we were going to sell this one for 18 grand. The ARV was like 30,000. We ended up getting it under contract for 5,750. And we kept getting bites, but we weren't able to sell it. So we decided to do it on our own. So we got a $7,000 down payment and basically got that covered with the down payment, the 5,000. And then we basically, took title to it and now we're cash flowing it.
Dude, I love that. So by the way, what's the cash flow on that property?
That one is 400. That was our first one that we did.
Okay, so by the way, 7,000 down, you're holding on to the asset. There's the cash flow. Dan, let's come to you on deal number 2 because this one turned into a little bit more of a cash cow. What went down there?
Absolutely. Could I share one quick thing on the last deal that we found out today, a very good news? So the step 3 of the lease option program is the buyer lets you know that they want to buy it.
Yes.
Well, we got that phone call today.
All right. So by the way, what's that going to do to your profits?
Well, to be honest, it's not a ton because we were just pretty inexperienced with the first one, kind of just throwing things together, but it's going to be like, I think $3,000.
Okay.
$4,000 or so, but hey, it's the experience. But
but you learned on deal number 2, right?
Tell me about it. So the second one, we ended up getting a $10,000 down payment, all profit. The monthly rent, $1,850. We got a private lender to actually fund the deal, paying them $500 a month. So we got a $1,350 cash flow on that.
Wait. Your payment to the bank or private lender is $500 a month, but you're collecting $1,850 a month. So you're netting $1,350 a month.
Positive cash flow.
Bro, that is 3 deals in one. That's 3 deals of cash flow on one on that house right there. That is pretty sick, dude. I'm excited for you, dude. That is cool. Eric, come back to you real quick on deal number 3. I know that you use my sandwich lease technique so that you could get into this house. Give me the rundown on this one.
Yeah, so basically we ended up contacting a seller and we were negotiating a certain amount to give him every single month, just enough so we could make some too as well. So we gave him $500. He accepted $500 a month, and we're renting this. We started the rent at $1,000, but now it's at $1,500. So we're doing $1,500 with this one for 24 months.
Got it. So you guys are making $1,000 a month on this particular property, and your total down payment after all is said and done is how much?
The down payment on this one was $7,500.
$7,500. So guys, listen, you guys are off to a really great start. When you look at your future, how many more deals do you think you're planning on trying to do this next year?
As many as possible. I want to do hundreds.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. Well, listen, Eric and Dan, you guys are amazing. Thank you so much for sharing your experience over the last few months and what's been going down. Super awesome having you guys here. Super excited to connect with you on more of this stuff. Guys, right now, I wanted to, before we go into Q&A, because we're almost at the top of our hour here, Dolph and I want to take a few minutes and share with you that we are going to privately tonight, we are going to be selecting 400 people who want to have their lives changed forever. This is the first time, by the way, that I've taken all of my real estate knowledge in single family, all of Dolph's knowledge in commercial, and we've combined it together into something really amazing.
Well, yeah, because we want everyone to succeed using whichever method appeals to you the most.
And now I get to hate on my team because they put a freaking tiara on my head. You guys, hat switch. That's a hat trick right there. But yes, the 2 kings of real estate, if I can say that as humbly as possible, we have joined forces, and here's what it looks like. We're calling it our Real Estate Secrets Bundle. I have never released anything that contains everything, including multifamily and commercial. And literally, Dolph is the #1 international expert in the world on it. And there are 5 things that come with it. We're going to take a few minutes and share it with you. We're going to invite you, if you feel inspired, to come and play with us, come and join, because Dolph and I, we're going to be your mentors. We're going to be mentoring you in your mindset. We're going to be mentoring you commercially in real estate. We're going to take these 5 strategies. We're going to check off all the boxes, and we're going to help you build insane wealth in 2021. Because I'm telling you, you don't have time to waste. Not in this economy. You could wait a century for what is happening right now in this economy. And by the way, listen carefully. 2008, I did 2,000 deals. 5 years later, sold them $100 million of profits. You know what my #1 regret was, Dolph?
That you sold them.
That I didn't do more.
And
so I said, when this happens again, I will be ready. And guess what? It's happening even bigger than before, and I'm so excited about it. So guys, let me just tell you what Dolph and I put together. If it's for you, great. If it's not, then just hang tight for a second. We're going to get to loads of Q&A and our $500 free gift. But here it is. It's #1, and it starts with
the Real Estate Secrets secrets bundle number 1, the full Lease Options Pro program. You've heard Kris talk about it. If you cannot figure out how to do lease options from this, you're missing something. This of itself is worth joining for.
Yeah, so Noelle and Eric and Dan at the bottom right corner right there, they're like, yes, this is good stuff. But literally everything that you need to do real estate the right way is included. People buy this, by the way, every single day for $1,000. You're about to see that we're gonna do something pretty stupid because we love to over deliver, which brings me to number 2, which is Dolph and I, this last month, have powered through my favorite piece of content that's ever been created. It is our creative real estate digital course. It's all about single family, multifamily, and commercial. It is the comprehensive start to literally how one deal could completely change everything for you. I'm so excited about this. And
I'm
you
so
are
excited
so
about
free
this
with your
too.
knowledge to share it.
Well, you as well, but I too, for the first time, have combined commercial with residential. This is the course for people who perhaps don't know what they want to do in real estate, who can figure out they've got a whole plethora of things they can choose from. They can pick any one of them or all of them.
Number 3, guys, Dolph's 101 Ways of Massively Increasing Value in its ebook, audiobook, but more importantly, full course is being all bundled together. It's being also added here so that we are just killing it on making sure that once you acquire the property with little to no money, you now know how to massively increase its value, like Dolph's $20 of paint turning into $2 million. That's pretty crazy.
Right, and then the next one is we've got number 4. It's 90 days of live training with both Kris and myself.
I'm going to tell you guys right now that when Dolph and I put our heads together to become your private mentors, to clean the real estate between your ears and to help you develop the ultimate financial mindset, every month for the next 3 months, we're going to be doing a long, super deep dive on clean. And as I've done this with clients in the past, myself, Dolph, without you, it has been the favorite part of the program.
Right.
But with you, I think it's an entirely different dynamic now.
Well, it's one thing teaching one to many, but when people have questions, they want a forum that they can ask those questions and have them answered, and that's why it's so valuable.
Yes, and then the 5th and final thing that I want to share with you that we're going to include in here is all of the contracts, all of the legal documents, everything that you need to transact real estate from multifamily, single family, and commercial. Everything is actually, Dolph, it's
Kris,
taken
it can
years.
take people years, you're right,
And
5
lots of
years,
money.
10 years to collect all of this, and it's all consolidated and put into one package.
So guys, real quick, just check it out. Eyes on the screen, look at what we've put together. My entire single family lease option program, our entire commercial real estate program, 101 Ways to Massively Increase the Value course, 90 days of mindset retraining for the ultimate mind shift to make more money, and then obviously a comprehensive suite of all legal documents. It's $12,485 of value. And yes, we are a little bit nutsoid. We are releasing this for only $997.
I think it's nutsoid.
I know you want to buy it too. Yes. We're gonna make it a today only for sure, because afterwards, guys, we have to return everything back to all of its normal. However, we like to go above and beyond.
We like to over-deliver, always.
We're always over-delivering it. So we're gonna give you 5 crazy bonuses. We'll share what those are, and then we'll be jumping into our contest winner, and then obviously our Q&As. Let's start with number 1. This is the one, Dolph, that I'm really excited about, which is our private community for investors, both in commercial and real estate, never offered before.
Right.
When you join this community, me, Dolph, and my top coaches, Angie, Graham, Ryan, Derek, the people that we personally train to build, run, and manage all of our portfolios, we run this community. And so between each other, we're literally sharing deals, okaying deals, vetting deals, giving you pointers, tips, contracts, paperwork, everything that you need to crush it. They unfortunately, my team marked this up as a $997 value, and I'm like, you're missing a digit. That is $10,000 crazy insane dollars.
It is.
That gives you access to this for an entire full year, which basically means no excuses. You get all the help that you need.
All right, number 2, lifetime access upgrade. This means you don't just get it for a year or something like that. This is for all time. There is no price that you can put on this that is actually accurate.
That one really is priceless, because it's now not just a year. It says for the rest of your life, whenever you're doing anything in real estate, if you want to do no money down, little money down, if you need real estate help, you have a community that will help you do everything, run the full gamut for multi-commercial and single family real estate. This is probably my favorite bonus.
It is.
Number 3, though, we also have the ultimate tax guide and consultation. This is super important for you to understand. Tax law is changing. Biden in America is shifting everything. And I want you to understand, he's threatening taking away 1031 exchanges. He wants to shift the depreciation charts. He wants to change capital gains. And those might be foreign terms to some of you, but I want you to understand what that means. I have taken my best tax team and I'm making them available to you to do 2 things. Number one, give you the ultimate tax guide. And number two, to give you a free consultation so that literally wherever you stand right now, we can help you keep as much money as possible so that you can invest and so that you can grow your personal life. This is a super, super big deal.
Right. The crucial thing you said is it's not just how much you earn, but it's how much of that you manage to keep.
I know.
Right.
Guys, bonus number 4, 2 tickets to my live event. Every year I put on Unleash Your Financial Destiny. It is 4 days of ultimate mindset training. We do crazy stuff. I won't even tell you, but Dolph was here at my event just last month. We walked on fire. We were breaking boards.
We walked on fire twice.
Yeah, we were doing, yes, we did. It was crazy, crazy fun. These full immersion events are when everything seems to click. If you're not getting the real estate and you come to this event, you literally have the power to become a changed, transformed person that says, I've awoken my financial genius and I am ready to go. By the way, all you here in this room that have been to my events, are they freaking kick butt or what?
Yes.
Yeah, they are insane. If you've been, you might want to drop it on the chat. They're really, really unforgettable. But we do have a 5th and final bonus.
We do, and that is the Art of Breakthrough full course. Kris, you explain. This is a tremendous course.
Guys, I've spent $2 million with 30 mentors developing the ability to transform through any limitation in my brain. And so I created an entire course on it. I'm giving that entire course away for free for everyone as a bonus that actually moves forward and gets started with us. This is probably my other 5th favorite thing about what we're doing here.
It makes it an insane offer, I'll have to say.
Well, and if you add it all up on the left side, you've got your $12,500 of value. And then we, of course, added another 10 grand. You've got basically $21,967. And we do that to make this a no-brainer. Either this is connecting with you and you're like, guys, this is absolutely nuts and insane, and you can have all of that for $997. I just want to say one component can help create financial freedom. A second, a third, a fourth, a fifth. We want to give you multiple ways far beyond just 5 to make sure that if you've ever wanted to be in the game of real estate, don't get hacked by hyperinflation. In fact, I want you to ride it like a freaking tsunami that can take you into a financial future that you've been wanting to go into. So that's our offer. If it's for you, we are only taking 400 people. And right now the offer is up. If you guys actually check right there on the tab, on the offers tab, and it's in the chat link, it's right there. If it's for you, jump in, come and play. We're doing Q&A in just a second, but I just got to say, we put this together with my team to be our most seductive offer ever because it checks all of the boxes.
And I think it is a seductive offer. And you know, they say when you're really old, you don't regret the things you did that you shouldn't have done. You look back and regret the things you didn't do that you could have done. Make sure when you look back, not doing this isn't one of the things that you regret.
If you've ever wanted to master, number one, cash-free real estate investing, it checks the box. Or if you've ever wanted to cash in on the hyperinflation that only comes along once every many, many decades, literally maybe once in your working life, and if you want to minimize your taxes, it checks that box as well.
And if you want to figure out how to double your profits in 30 days, that also is something that checks the box there. And also, you've got high value commercial real estate. We've shown you some examples. It's how you can change the way people look at things completely and turn it into something that it wasn't before.
Now, Dolph, just real quick, I just want to say something. In a moment, I'm going to share my money back guarantee to keep you safe. It's crazy. But before I do, I just want to acknowledge that already 30 people have decided to join and we haven't even given the guarantee. Those are the people I want to work with. Those are the people like Noelia. Those are the people like Dan. Those are the people like Eric that say, you know what? This is my time. I'm not waiting for some government to fix things for me. I'm not waiting on my boss. My financial destiny is my own, and this is my year to create it. And I'm going to literally ring together 2 of the best mentors. You got to be clear. Robert Kiyosaki was one of the biggest names in the game of real estate. His financial advisor is sitting here next to me, and there's a reason why. So, guys, all this comes together at such perfect timing. Here's the money back guarantee. It's a 2 times your money back guarantee, and it says this: if you invest in this program, and if you use everything, in other words, you complete all the video trainings, you watch the live trainings, you come live. And if at the end of the day, you don't triple your investment, as in like take $1,000 and just at least make $3,000, then I will not give you your money back. I will give you double your money back, and you can take that to the bank. That never expires. I can put that out there with so much confidence. You know why? Because if you do the program and if you follow it, the program works. But like I said in the beginning, it definitely, I disclosed, it doesn't work for non-action takers.
That is the best money back guarantee I've ever heard.
And we're a little crazy, aren't we?
Totally crazy.
Yeah.
The offer is crazy. The guarantee is crazy. You're crazy.
Well, listen, if you guys want to, thank you, I appreciate that. You know, every day someone on social media says, hey, Kris Krohn, you got to calm down. And you know what I say? Never. Because, yeah, I got to tell you, like this, I had a near-death experience. And I decided I am never going to play small ever again. And so I achieved so much wealth at such a young age, just like you did, Dolph, because that motivation was there to want a better life. Check this out. You can click the add to cart button, but I also give you a phone number on the screen. You want to talk to a member of our team, you call that number 801-894-9416. Go ahead and ask your questions. Just know that once we are at 400, game is over. We want to know who this group is that we're going to be mentoring for the next, not just 365 days. You're now joining our team for life, which is pretty cool.
It's very cool.
All right, so check it out, guys. We're about to get to our Q&A. We just have to nominate a contest winner first. So guess what? If you guys check the polls on the side of your screen on the right, guess what? We have put a poll up right now, and I want you to click the link, and I need you to nominate the winner, because guess what? We're gonna pay $100 Venmo or PayPal to whoever you nominate, and we're only keeping this open for the next 25 seconds. So right now, click the poll and just read your options, click winner, and once we know who that winner is, my team is going to be in touch with you. They're gonna Venmo, PayPal you that $100, and I wanna thank you. I'm excited to see what everyone actually votes on, because always a little bit of market testing kind of tells me, Dolph, where people are at, what people are thinking, you know, what's in their head.
What's on their minds, what are they thinking, where are they at? And that will give us a clue as to what we do going forward.
So here's what we're gonna do right now. Let me see if we have it. Okay, the winner, according to you all, is from Nicholas B. It says, lack of knowledge and resources causing fear of failure. You guys voted that is the number one limiting belief, and I want to take that for a second. Real quick, guys, I just want to show you this. So this is what my team handed me, and I just want to say lack of knowledge, we've got that fixed. Lack of resources, we got that fixed. You don't need resources when you have creativity and when you have good mentors. And the fear of failure, we're going to correct with that mindset. So your top limiting beliefs, we are going to annihilate them. There's nothing that I do in life that actually brings me, I think, more joy, other than just being with my family. So Nicholas B, Colton, what does he got to do to get his money? How are we going to give it to him? Everyone give it up for Nicholas B.
Hey, Nicholas.
My team is...
Nicholas B to private message us.
Nicholas B, go ahead and private message us. Our team will also email you. We'll get you squared away before the evening is out. And with that, my friends, we're gonna now run into full Q&A. Marianne has been gathering the top best questions. We're gonna invite this little munchkin who is gonna come up. Dude, she is literally on platforms.
It's true.
Stilettos with platform bottoms, her go-go boots.
My
so
actual
that she can,
size is this.
yes, so that she can actually rise to the occasion. So listen, everybody, this has been a whole lot of fun. Obviously, if you want to come and play and participate, if you want to call in tomorrow, the day after, and be like, hey, I heard you guys had that insane deal, that deal is not going to be here. And the reason why is because we got to go back to business as usual. People pay tens of thousands of dollars, you know, for all these different components when they really do get added up. And right now we've got 345 spots that are left. My team's letting me know. We're going to go into Q&A. It's your turn. You guys get to direct the conversation from here on out.
Now we have a lot of questions. They've been coming in the entire time. We know some of you are watching here. We know some of you are watching on YouTube. Trust me, we're watching every one of you and have all of your questions. The first one comes from Anthony Kaunawa.
What's up,
I'm so sorry I'm mispronouncing that.
That's okay.
After you get your first property, how do you finance your second property?
All right, so Dolph, listen, you're going
question.
to like this one, right?
Well, I love this one, because if you use even some of those 101 ways, you can massively increase the value of your first property. Then you go back to the bank and refinance the first one. That might give you the cash you need to buy your second one.
Dolph, that's what I did in my first house. I did it. I redid the inside. The bank came back, gave me a $50,000 higher appraisal.
There you go.
And they gave me a home equity line of credit. It cost me nothing to close on it. And I used the home equity line of credit from the bank to literally be the down payment for my second property.
Right. And
Property had babies.
Yes.
Yes, indeed.
It's called property hacking. Babies.
Well, this one from Mason Britton. When you use someone else's money, how do you usually split the deal to make sure there's a win-win? How do you both make money?
Mason, this is great. Dolph and I do so many partnerships. Dolph, I want to come to you first on this one. You're the guest. You're the guest mentor today. So
it just depends. Usually I ask the people supplying the money, how do they want to do it? Some just want to get a fixed return.
Yes.
And if they're getting 6% when bank rates are 2.7 or 3.6, they think they're doing well. Well, that's cheap money in my books when we find deals along the lines of the ones that we find. Sometimes they want to participate. They might be a 50-50 partner. If they want to be, that's fine too. It doesn't matter how the deal gets taken down as long as the deal does get taken down.
Yeah, I just got to say, one of my favorite forms of partnership is actually kind of expensive. I say, bring the money to the table and we'll be 50-50 partners. Well, think about this. Dolph says you could go after private money at maybe 6, 7, 8, or 9%. But on average, I'm earning a total of 25, 50, or sometimes 70% a year on my money. And I'm splitting that with my partner. Guess what it does? Why am I so generous? because it says, I better come back and do more. And so I need fewer relationships for all of us to make a whole lot more money. So
Exactly.
there's two really good ideas for you, Mason. Good thinking. Great question.
Awesome. This one comes from Tooth Wong. I hope I'm saying that right. What is your advice, or what should you do if you're 17? How do you take your first steps in real estate?
Man, I was really young when I got started, but Dolph, I think 17 is a memorable age for you.
That is a very memorable age. That was the age that I had when I bought my first property. And by the way, when I was 17, I looked about 12. So getting a mortgage was extraordinarily difficult. And fortunately, when the first bank manager turned me down, I didn't say, well, obviously this game's not for me. I kept at it. I had to go to 11 banks before I finally found one that said, I'll take a chance on you. And I would have preferred to hear, that's a great deal, we'll fund it. But I was happy with, I'll take a chance on
I'll tell you though, what I would consider doing to it if I were you is think about it this way. When you're young at 17, you have something on your side. You have age on your side. It's not a disadvantage, it's an advantage as long as you acquire knowledge. Because I'm gonna tell you right now, what we're offering, for example, in this course, can you find that on Wikipedia? No, you can't. Can you find that in high school? You can't. Can you find this in college?
Nope.
No, you can't. Can you find this if you go to a real estate association? No, you can't. But guys that have done billions of dollars in deals, like, take this note, guys. Proximity. Play with the people who have been where you're at, not who understand it in theory. That's what a coach does. I'm talking about a mentor that has already been to the top of the mountain and can show you how to get there. So as much knowledge as you possibly can get and getting proximity to people like us that can train you, that's where I got my training. And I didn't find it in a book. I didn't find it in a course. I found it with real life successful people.
Exactly.
I love that example. Now, this one from John May. What would you say was your biggest roadblock in beginning in real estate?
For me, Kris, it was I too didn't believe that I could do it. I didn't come from a family of real estate investors. I didn't know if I could. I had a notion that it might be possible, but I was petrified. And when at 17, I committed myself to a property worth more than probably I thought my net worth was going to be in 10 years' time. It was horrible. But I can also tell you that when I got the rental payments at the end of that first month for more money than the mortgage was going to cost me, an allowance for insurance and everything else, I had made money and I hadn't worked for it. I thought, man, I've got to do this again.
Well, and I want to share my answer, but first I just want to say, hey, Joe K and Matt S and Austin F, I want to congratulate you guys on getting started with us. Here's my promise. Me and Dolph, all of these resources, my entire team, I wish I could flip the camera around here. I got over 50 people that support me in helping create and produce the real estate results that Dolph and I are doing here. So I just want to let you guys know that you are in good hands. We are going to freaking show up and rock it out for you. And I'm super pumped for you. But I also want for John, I want to answer this question on what was my biggest holdback.
Love to hear it.
My first mentors actually did not talk about no money down. They talked about low money down. I waited 14 months to save up $5,000 before I actually had the ability to put a 3% down payment on my first property. And you know what? I look back and I'm like, wow, Kris, it took you 4.5 years to become financially free. But knowing what you know today, how long would it take you to buy 25 properties? And I'm like, I don't know. It's not going to, it's going to be measured in days. It's not going to be measured in years. And so when you actually get a chance to learn the no money down stuff like we're talking about here, that's really what shifts and changes the game. By the way, guys, we are down to 298 spots. So if we can, real quick, I want to congratulate our first 102 amazing individuals.
Done.
You got your guarantee. We're going to freaking crush it for you guys. Give them a huge round of applause.
Way to take a move.
Yes. Listen, Dolph and I get seriously pumped about this. Just imagine how wealthy we are. Imagine how much real estate we bought, and imagine what's happened to it in just the last. You think it's exciting for you to have a house go up $100,000 in value? Multiply that by a much bigger number, and it's like, okay, we don't need your money. Dolph and I, when we said we don't need money for doing this, what you get to have is skin in the game so that you show up and so that you play all out. Because when it's for free, you get what you pay for, which is nothing. Free people do nothing.
True.
We take the most valuable thing we can do, we freaking put it at the cheapest price possible. We say, make it hurt a little bit, put a little skin in the game, make sure that we're gonna over deliver 20x on the value. And literally now you have a recipe for success. Dolph and I have been running it this way for years, and that's how we got in the game. We have certainly made our investments. It's time for you to make the smallest one that can make the biggest difference. And with that, we have a couple more congratulations.
We have Simon C, Terry F, Carlos S, and Sean K.
What's up, you
Congratulations.
guys? Hey,
way to make a move.
Super pumped for you guys. Thank you for moving forward. Here's what I get excited about. It tells me, Dolph, that they are in and that they're going to play all out. As in when Dolph and I say, great, here's the date when we're doing our mindset training. You open your schedule for that. You take notes and you freaking show up. I just did a breakthrough with one of my clients, and it was It was so transformative. So you don't want to miss out on it. You're going to want to take advantage of everything, including getting live with me. In fact, I'm going to see if I can twist Dolph's arm. If his schedule allows, he'll come out to Unleash Your Financial Destiny.
That would be amazing.
We're going to crush it. We're going to see if we can make it happen.
Let me know when it is. If I'm available, I will be there.
Yes.
Because you know what? The measure of a person is what it takes to stop them. What would it take
Oh,
to...
wow.
Oops.
Can you
Sound
say
bite.
that again?
Mic drop.
That-
Don't drop it.
The measure of a person is what it takes to stop them. What would it take to stop you from going ahead with this insane offer, this crazy offer? Is 100,000 too much? Or what about 50,000? 25,000? We're talking $997.
I would have given every last penny I had back in the day getting started
Mm-hmm.
if I had these resources.
I wish I'd had this available to me when I was 17, because I tell you what, I wouldn't be standing where I am now. I'd be standing on Mars.
Oh, wow.
Probably.
We won't tell them about Galactic and finding the launch pad, right? I mean, Dolph has done the
international?
most.
Is that interplanetary
That's
real estate?
interplanetary real estate that they're trying. Dolph's trying to add a new chink in his, new battle of honor.
Do what now?
Listen, Miriam, we got a
Does
great
this
question
work?
here. Let's
Yep.
ask this one right here.
Okay, international. Everyone's asking this. How does international work with this?
Dolph, international real estate.
Yes. So, it takes a lot to learn about international. For instance, foreclosures are a uniquely American phenomenon. It's not that they don't have foreclosures overseas, they call them something else. Down under, they call them mortgagee sales, and in other parts of the world, they call them redemption sales. All you need to know is the languaging, and it works exactly the same.
But Dolph, they're asking about Australia and Canada. Do you know something about Australia and Canada?
I have operated in all, I've lived in Australia, I've been to school there, I've invested there, I've run events there. Yes, I'm looking at a deal in Canada right now. It's a resort complex that takes people internationally. So yes, the words are different, but real estate essentially is the same. And I tell you what, it's a very difficult thing investing overseas, because you might have to go there every year to check up on the property and to be sure that trip becomes tax deductible.
The last time I went to
yeah.
Dubai to eat at one of the only 2 7-star restaurants on the planet was really rough living when they were pouring literally gold flakes in my apple cider.
There you go.
Rough.
So you get to experience all of this. I would recommend you to go international. People say it's too difficult, it's too far, it's too difficult to do deals in your own backyard. Why go international? Explore the world. The world's there. We're going to be dead for a mighty long time. Enjoy our time here.
Okay, guys, now we're going to cover as many questions as we possibly can with the time that we got. But even when Dolph and I have to go, I just want to pause and just say that I'm going to be bringing up some of my real estate coaches that me and Dolph leverage. They're going to be here to continue answering some questions with you. By the way, Marshall S., Eric L., Hamilton H., and David F., congratulations,
Well
you guys.
done.
Dolph
Congrats,
and I,
guys.
we are your mentors, and we're going to
Absolutely.
we're going to crush it with you guys.
Yeah.
Very cool. Now listen, Antonio Galvan asked a really great question. Very
Antonio's
relevant.
in the house.
How do I find a motivated seller when the market's so hot?
Yes.
People are offering 10K but asking for these private things. What's going on
Well,
here?
Dolph, it just means that there's probably no good deals in this market. We're just getting
There are
lucky.
absolutely none. That's
We're
saying
just-
that the deal of the decade comes along about every week. That doesn't work in this market.
No,
right?
not in this
No.
market. Dolph, how do they find a motivated seller in today's
All right.
market?
In fair compensation, or whatever the word is to the questioner, yes, it is a bit more tricky, but the good deals are still there. People still get motivated to get rid of a property quickly. It could be a divorce situation. They might get a new job in a high-paying place like Dubai, and they just want to get rid of their house the day before yesterday because they want to get on the
I got
plane.
a text last night where a guy offered me $50,000 of equity if I would just help him do a 90-day bridge loan.
There you go.
And not only that, but we also have this other question. Does this work virtually?
Great question.
I just want to answer that in a little bit of a strange way. So every day I acquire real estate, most days. And when I do, I don't get on planes and I don't drive places, but the real estate gets acquired. So the whole notion of virtual, listen, virtual is already going to take over everything, but in the last year, I'll tell you what COVID did. It pushed everything over the edge, and now everything has to be done virtually. And so it's only made it easier to make money from the couch.
Right. There's only one area that won't go virtual, and that's where people live. And that's why this is such a good game to be in.
Yes, unless we're talking about virtual reality. Sorry, Dolph.
That's a really fun
I did
game,
not mean
too.
to upstage you on that. Come on, Marianne, another
All
question.
right, we got plenty here. Jonathan Huerta, I turned 19 last month and have 25K saved up from my business. How
Wow.
would you invest?
What's his name?
Jonathan Huerta. I
Jonathan,
hope
what
I'm
are
saying
you
that right.
doing at 19 with
That is
$25,000?
great. Well done.
You're ready to go
Incredible.
and buy like 5 houses right now.
Yeah, you're on your way.
How
What's
would you
his question?
invest it? He says he lives in California, so
Okay,
we all
so
know
don't buy
what
a house
that's
in
doing,
California.
right? Yeah, don't do that.
All right, so Jonathan, this is a really good question. So first of all, I think that you're asking the wrong question. People do this all the time. I have this money. How do I invest it? Have you been listening, Jonathan, to what Dolph and I have been saying? Why is everyone trying to put their last dime in real estate other than to avoid hyperinflation? It's a smart question to be sure, but you can take $25,000 and put it in a property. Do you remember Dolph talking about the property that was 10 grand here and it was 3 grand here and it was 5 grand here? Take that 25,000, you should be asking, how many deals can I do? Ooh. The more deals, the more money you're gonna make. Everyone is always thinking, wow, I got a deal. And I'm like, great, there's your 200 grand. But you're thinking, where's my other 4? Biggest regret, I believe, Jonathan, even though you're super young, biggest regret I ever find people have in their 60s financially is that when they get to retirement, they are literally pooped out, sad, and upset at how little they have for retirement. But guess where they have the majority of their net worth? It's not a 401k and it's not an IRA. Those things are broken. It's in the real estate that they bought. And you know what they're thinking at that point? Man, if I had just bought a few more homes, I would be a millionaire. If I had, and guys, I knew that when I was 22 years old. Why do you think about 25? Because I didn't want $1 million. I knew that I would need at least several $1 million for living the life of my dreams that I wanted. So I want you to be thinking, Jonathan, how do you spread that money? And I'm telling you right now, you're 19, you have come of age. Most people your age have ended your education. Don't do it. Join up with Dolph and I if it feels right. And let's show you how to take $25,000 and buy as much real estate as you possibly can.
Now, awesome. We have 193 spots left. That's incredible.
Okay, guys, we got over 200.
Holy cow.
Over 200 people. So we have acquired half of our team, Dolph.
It's more than half.
Well, I know, but we wanted our 400 people that we could spend a year and rock it out with and change their lives.
How fun.
We're halfway there. Within 24 hours, it's all game over, done anyway. But for those of you that have acted now, I want to say something. This is going to sound a little bit bizarre, perhaps. But you get to a point in your life, when I started off, I was skeptical. I thought everyone was trying to burn me,
you're the
fleece
only
me.
one, by the way.
No, but
There's
really,
never been another skeptical person ever.
I was scared and I was nervous, and I had also lost some money. So I was just like, everyone's just trying to screw me. These things that sound too good to be true are. I'm like, that's actually not always true. It wasn't until I humbled myself and learned that the proximity to a mentor was the key to changing life. That is the money I've spent that I have always been grateful for. I don't even want to share how much money I have spent on this little guilty pleasure. But if people look at me and they're like, wow, Kris, you're so smart in this and so smart in this, and what about this vector and that vector? Listen, it's not me. It's just been the byproduct of learning how to do this. You ready?
With the sound effects, by the way.
Sucking knowledge out of the head of brilliant people that have dedicated their life to mastering something. I'm just telling you right now, over the next decade, I'm going to make way more money in commercial than the $1 billion plus in real estate I've transacted in residential over the last 18 years. And that's not because of me. That's a credit to me doing one smart thing, aligning myself with someone superiorly smarter than I am in a given area. And that really is the key to leveling up major success. So for the 200 of you plus that have done that, I just want to say congratulations. Because if you're sitting there like, I want to do it, but I can't get myself to, or, oh, I have this excuse, or I failed at this last thing, or my spouse won't support me, and you've got this wrestle in the mind. That is the weakness of the mind that will stop you until you are in the ground, except later you will be skeptical and disillusioned and angry and sad and upset at your life because you talked yourself out of so many things. I cannot promise this will work. I can guarantee I'll get you your money back if you follow the rules. That's not what this is about. This is about listening to your intuition, and when something feels right, you act on it. Even if you get burned and have to learn whatever that lesson is until you get it right. Here's what I had to do. It's not about courses. It's about the person that I connect with. For me, that was you, Dolph. You were the initial inspiration, truly, that said this young punk of a kid can go out there and do real estate, even though his friends, his parents, and everyone says, this has got to be the dumbest thing that you could possibly do with your life. And when I became financially free at 26, they still didn't understand. But for the last 12 years, I've taken care of my parents. I have fulfilled my oath to God. I've given them everything. They just got back from 2 weeks in Hawaii. And the joy of my life, it's not mansions and nice stuff. It's having had the means to live an extraordinary life and to make choices that are not ordinary by any measure. If you want that life, I can't motivate that out of you, and Dolph can't, but you got to end the wrestle in here and rise above that.
It's so true. Well said.
Amen.
And
Well,
I'm
on
honored
Apple
to
Box.
hear that
Wow.
firstly. The reason why I do what I do is just to get comments like you said, because I too didn't come from a family that supported this. In fact, Kris, I was 36 years old and visiting my parents in Europe. They picked me up from the airport and my mother said, Dolph, it's not too late. And I looked at my watch thinking, too late for what? Having dinner with an aunt or something? I said, for what? She said, to get a job. Because I didn't have one.
Goodness.
I said, but I don't want a job.
And you have college degrees up
Yes.
and down. Yeah, absolutely.
PhD, by the way.
Yes.
Let's just be honest.
But that's probably why they were disappointed that I didn't have a job. And I said, but I have my real estate. They said, but you don't have a pension plan or a 401k or whatever it would be called. And I said, my real estate's my pension plan.
They just didn't quite get it.
They didn't get it. They get it now.
Listen,
Amazing.
if you want to live truly an extraordinary life, then you have to do extraordinary things. You don't do that by following the masses, because the masses are often moving in a single track direction. And in many cases, it will give you limited results. But if you ever felt like you were called to more, like, here's what I always say: find your mentor, and then you stroke that check, and then you follow and listen and do everything that you're told. That's what Noelia did. That's what Dan has done. That's what Eric's done. And that's why they're getting results, because they're taking action on what it is. And that first step is joining up with us if it feels right. Now we got more questions, so let's do those.
Lots of them. Now, Sahil and Taylor and many others have asked about that 401k. Now,
All
that's a
right.
bad word for you. It's all right. I have 401k. Should I withdraw it? What do I do with this?
All right, Dolph, can I take this one first?
Yes, please.
I apologize. I know we've already been on my soapbox rant one time, but I can't help myself. You say 401k and I just turn like
Have
into
feelings,
the
right?
green hulky. So here's what's going down for me. The 401k and the IRA are problematic because they are designed to give you indexed averages across the stock market, producing a 30-year result of 6% average ROI. 6% year over year over year does not compound into much, like $50,000. Over 20 years will compound into $160,000. Well, we're talking about 20 years from now, retirement. That is a poor sum of money. But in real estate, earning 25% ROI, I can turn that into $4.3 million. You got to crack the code on ROI by going from a single digit to a double digit. And frankly, the only reason why I think Dolph and I love real estate, aside from the creativity and the fun and all the ways it creates value, is because once you enter the realm of double digit, you never going back to single digit. You'll look at 401k never exactly the same way again. So here's what I want you to be thinking about right now. Your 401k or IRA, can you get the money out of it? Sure. Will you have to pay taxes and penalties? Yes. By the way, the taxes, unavoidable. Meaning you're always going to have to pay that no matter what age you are. What you're really talking about, we're bickering about a 10% penalty. That's called a cost of business for a choice that you made. So you pay your 10% tax and you get your money out, and then it's free for you to control instead of a hopium in the market to produce something that it's never going to be able to. By the way, 401ks and IRAs, my partners use that all day long with me. Same thing with you in commercial, to go out and do deals and make magic happen. So I look at that and I'm like, hey, don't feel bad that you've accumulated money there. Maybe you have money because you did that. But guess what? It's time to access it, it's time to free it, and it's time to set it loose in the best of ways. I would rather have a chance of success than a guarantee of failure.
Now, Tanner is asking, Tanner Ellis says, will you please go over the bundle one more time? I want to see everything that's included.
Okay,
Can we just
Tanner.
revisit that and
All right,
see
Tanner.
everything that's going on here?
All right, Tanner, here we go, real quick. Okay, super. The best way for me to do it, actually.
You just passed it,
no,
I think.
I didn't.
Nope. There
it's
it is.
right here. All right. So Tanner, let me do this with Dolph real quick. Number one, my entire lease option program that people buy every single day for $1,000.
Right? The creative real estate package that we created in the last month. We went to a lot of effort to put all our knowledge into this so that you can implement it straight away.
Dolph's,
That's
yeah.
worth 3,000 on that one.
Yeah, Dolph's 101 ways and his entire course on how you increase value. That's a game changer, because the first two courses are how do you buy commercial and how do you buy residential and how do you buy multifamily. Once you own it, how do you increase its value? And right there, you've made your money. But now we have to do a little bit of mindset correcting, which is why over the next 90 days, Dolph and I are going to do the breakthrough mentoring and coaching with you. And then, of course, you have all of your legal documents. So that's what's happening on the left side of the screen. That's $12,000+ of value. And by the way, these things that you're looking at are things that people buy.
Actual prices that
Yes.
people are paying at the moment.
Hey, I don't want to create any FOMO for anyone that's not supposed to be involved, but currently we only have 124 of the 400 spots left, which means we're about 70% there right now, Dolph, which means we wanted inside of 24 hours to find our 400 students that we could create the most impact for. And so for Tanner that's asking this question on the left, that's what the program is. But on the right, you have your bonuses. Bonus number one, it's a lifetime upgrade. We're going to literally help you do your tax minimization consultation. We're going to give you live event tickets to get with me for 4 days on the mindset in addition.
It's going to be incredible.
The private community is probably the most important thing, though. It's not what you're going to learn from Dolph and I. It's the fact that you can light up the chat. My coaches are there, and you each other are there. And with this program, anytime you got a question inside there, like if my team can't answer the question, guess what we're doing? They're coming to me and Dolph and saying, hey guys, We got a toughie.
Help us out with this one. Yeah.
Help us out with this one. And then the last thing is the art of breakthrough, which is I don't want you to have 10 transformational experiences. I want to give you a program that can give you access to unlocking your entire brain by eliminating all the top 1,000 limiting beliefs that are holding you back in your life. This is the most comprehension thing that I've ever offered because it's completely technical from A to Z in real estate, from single family to commercial, but the entire mind shift is so prominent there, and I'm going to just share with you why. It's because if you don't fix this real estate between your ears that Dolph talks about, then you'll always be limited on like, for example, Dolph, I'll share with you, and I'm just going to get vulnerable for a second. One of the best and worst decisions that I ever made financially was before I owned real estate. I had worked an entire year at a job and I made that year $18,000. And it was a commission-based job. On the one hand, it was more money than I'd ever made in my life. And on the other hand, I found out as an adult that it wasn't enough to cover my bills. Right. So it was a bittersweet. And I made a decision. I didn't understand the impact of it. I said, because I'm at a commission job and because I'm going to do real estate, I said, I bet I can double my income this year. So I just believed it because $18,000 was such a piss poor sum of money that if I doubled
Seems
it,
doable.
no, listen to my justification. The national average income in this country is $44,000 a year. So if I doubled $18,000, if I doubled it, I would still be below average. And I'm like, well, I think that I'm at least average. And because I believed I was average, I believed I could double it. That year, I doubled my income to almost $50,000. And because I had practiced 365 days of believing I could double it, the next year I doubled it to 100. The next year I doubled it to $250,000. The next year I doubled it to $500,000. But when I got to $500,000, I found the flaw in my plan. I had trained only my ability to double my income. And when I saw that doubling would take me from $500,000 to $1 million, the pressure of making $1 million in an entire year honestly scared me. My mindset wasn't right.
Wasn't ready for it.
And so that year I tried to double it and I only made half. And the next year and the next year and the next year, the same thing happened until I finally got it. Doubling was the best thing that could have happened to a 22-year-old. It was the worst thing that could have happened to a 30-year-old.
Because your mind wasn't ready for it.
Yes.
And that's why it's so important to have the right mindset.
Yes.
Because if you don't, you will never achieve any goals. You can make them up, but you won't achieve them.
Yeah.
So that's why what you're offering here, the art of breakthrough, is, I think, the most valuable thing.
We can argue like the 5 different most valuable things of the 10 things that are here, because the reality is we've never chalked so much value in anything before. Because it's a Dolph plus Kris. We've joined forces and you're really getting 2-for-1 mentors. And if you haven't connected that, I mean, this is what's kind of crazy. Listen, we're gonna take 2 more questions and then we're bringing up our coaches. They're gonna be taking it from here, guys. I said that Dolph and I would stay as long as we can. Marianne, you better pick 2 really good questions.
I know, I'm going for them, no pressure. Okay, Frederick Cassier, I think it's
Frederick!
Cassier?
What's up, buddy?
How is the equity going in your pocket if you need to repay it per month? What's going on there with the equity? How does that work? Does it get paid down? What is this whole business?
Good.
Well, if you're not on an interest-only mortgage, then yes, you're paying some principal back when you pay your mortgage payment every month. However, the property value is also going up. So let's say you've got a property for $200,000 with a $150,000 mortgage. You're slowly paying it down, and over time you've paid it down to $130,000. But the value of the property has gone up to $300,000.
Yes.
You simply go back to the bank and refinance.
Give me some money.
Give me some money.
My house has gone up. My asset is worth more. Give me some money.
Well, not only that, you've got a tenant paying, right? You're not paying the
you're
mortgage.
not paying it.
The tenant is actually
for you.
paying it down for you, which is awful generous of them, with some leftover money to put in your pocket. No, guys, it is really a win because it's a win for supplying housing. The #1 need in this country is putting families in homes. And there's so many different ways of doing that with creating value for them. And then, of course, the second one is creating a win for the bank and then a win for the community and a win for you. It's a win. It's a win all around.
That's why the more you can borrow, the better off you are. I always say some people don't sleep at night when they have too much debt. I don't sleep at night when I have too little debt.
Oh, man.
Ooh,
Listen,
that was a bomb.
Can I just sign a document that will give me $10 more million of debt? And I promise you I'm going to sign it right now. Like, I get so excited about that.
That's right.
Yes.
And when you owe the bank $500,000, you've got a problem.
Yes.
But when you owe the bank $50 million, they've got a problem. And then they call you. They call you and say, hey, how would you like to go out to lunch today? And you say, hang on a minute, we went out to lunch last week and they paid. I think they want me to pay this week. And they say, it's on us, of course, as usual. Why do they offer to take you out to lunch when you owe them a lot of money?
You're their best customer.
They want to, Dolph, it's right here.
Yes.
They want to give you
More money.
the more the merrier.
And why do they want to give you money and not some stranger off the street? Because you always pay the mortgage every month.
Yes.
Qualification, thanks to you, it's your tenant who pays the mortgage, kind of. But you make that payment, you affect that payment.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Well, listen, guys, it's been amazing being here. We are going to take one final question, but first, Brandy B, Annika L, Andre M, and Jake G. I just want me and Dolph to give you a heartfelt congratulations. We are thrilled to shower you with insane amounts of value, to be your mentors, and to help you make 2021 the most pivotal year in your real estate life.
Awesome. Now, one last question.
All right.
This one from Joey Perez.
Is it a good one?
It is a
Are
good
you
one.
sure?
Absolutely.
Have you looked?
Nope, yes.
All right.
There's a million of these.
Okay.
Okay. Now, this is asking about the contracts. We all talk a big game, but we all know that there's legal stuff behind this, the dotted line. Where are we going to get all the contracts to actually make this happen?
Contracts. I feel like singing about contracts. I get excited when I hear contracts. I used to be so freaking terrified of that. I just make my team laugh right there. They challenge me. So, Dolph, contracts. Is there one contract that allows you to do everything?
No. It takes many different contracts, and you've got them all in the kit.
Yes.
So we give you all the contracts you need, lease options, heads of agreement, you name it. We have them all there delineated for you. Some contracts vary state by state.
Let's talk about the most important, Dolph, reason why the community is so important. Here you are, you have found a deal, you brought it to us, we're vetting it, and we're saying, wow, this looks good. And by the way, if we get excited about it, we may give you a phone call. But if this is looking really good, there's going to be the oh crap moment. That's what I call it, Dolph. And it's when it comes time for you to
Sign on the
dotted line. You're first going to say, do I have the right contract? Is it structured the right way? Should I do this deal?
Are there holes in it?
And
Yeah.
any choices that you make, they are your own. And so we're not going to be responsible for those. But what we can do is we can give you the voice and the opinion that you're likely not going to get perspective on anywhere else. In other words, it's not always about getting perfect advice, it's about getting the best advice available. And that's really what we're gonna be doing is we're gonna be sharing principles and we're gonna help you understand it so you can own your highest and best choices. Those contracts are key. Just in the lease option realm, I literally paid over $10,000 for my contract. We say it's a $5,000 value. We just felt bad about making the numbers seem too high. I paid $10,000 to have those contracts done and redone over the years until they're perfect. And I'm gonna tell you right now, 98% of people doing lease options are fools. They're doing it with the wrong contract. They're doing it one. They're setting pre-approved purchase prices and they're setting future purchase prices. Can you imagine doing a deal where you set the purchase price of, okay, well, let's in 2 years, have you buy that $250,000 house for $280,000, and then it's worth $490,000.
Cringy.
I've been there before, by the way. I lost out on the $200,000, and I said never again. And then I said, but where do I get the contracts to do it right? Nobody's doing it. To this day, I've never met anyone that's done it the way that I consider right. So the contracts that you're going to get are the best that Dolph and I have used and come up with. And if we're missing something, you put it in the Facebook community chat, and guess what? Boom de bling. We're going to figure out how we can actually put that together.
Boom de bling. I like that one.
Boom de bling.
I love that. Yeah.
Boom de bling. Window poons.
No, wonderful. And now I know, Kris and Dolph, that you need to run, but we do have a team of experts. Shall we introduce those people?
Yeah, and I just want to be clear, guys. We are down from our 400 spots. We now have, how many was it left?
89.
Whoa.
We have 89 spots left. So the reality is I'm just going to tell you, I don't know if this is going to be here in the morning. So if you're just sitting there and like, oh, I'm wondering what I should do.
No babies.
I want to share one last thing and then I'm going to introduce our team. Have you ever met a skeptic before? I want to talk about how a skeptic is created. Okay. A skeptic is created when they attempt to do something to better their life and it backfires on them. And what they learn is that they can't trust the person involved in the deal.
Sounds like the wrong lesson.
It is the wrong lesson because they should be learning that the person that they're now going to mistrust until they fix this issue is themselves. And so skeptics become pessimists. And what's interesting, the reason why I share that with you is because some of you are watching this, we're seeing some of the snide remarks, we're seeing some of the snarkies. There's always a handful of you jokesters out there. And I understand that the truth is this. You've been hurt. And I can tell you Dolph has been hurt and I've been hurt. Mary Ann's been hurt. And you either become bitter because of your life experience or you face it and learn the real lesson, which is I have to learn to trust myself again. And there's no guarantee that bad things won't happen. And so I just want to just tell you, I see you and I understand how painful it is because I used to be there. And maybe you're more pessimistic than I was, but here's how I want to just warn you. I want to tell you how the pessimists and skeptics are going to make me a lot of money. It works like this. The real estate market bottoms out and the skeptics were involved in the deal. They got hurt And then the market 5 years later started coming back. The true investor, me, Dolph, were freaking making tons of the easy money that no one saw coming. Then the market starts going up, and then the retail consumer gets involved, and guess what? They're like, oh my gosh, this is amazing because I'm doing what I saw those investors do. And then when the market is approaching its peak, guess what happens to the skeptics? Oh man, I've waited so long. I'm gonna kick myself if I don't get in. Let's get in at the worst time possible. And guess what happens a few months later? They get spanked all over again, and it reinforces this fact. You're late. You know why you're skeptical? Because you're late. Listen, if you want to win in life, you got to freaking learn how to be front row first. You got to learn how to freaking act and show up. And if you're the last person, if you're the 399th person in, and if I were a betting man, I would say that the first people that joined have a higher likelihood than the last
Absolutely.
people. So you might have a circumstance for checking on something or doing something or transferring something so that you could get in. But if skepticism is holding you back, if personal bad history is holding you back, you listen to me right now. Do not join this program. I don't want you. I don't want you. Dolph doesn't want you.
The group.
But if you come in as a pessimist and say, I'm going to devour that breakthrough program, I'm going to devour the personal development training, and I want to be reformed, then I and Dolph welcome you with open arms and say, let this be the biggest breakthrough of your life, and of course, money will follow as a natural result of fixing your trust issues.
Preach.
Well
mic
said.
drop,
That's a
right?
mic drop.
Absolutely. There's
Guys,
people
we
in the
love
back
you.
of the room like wiping their
Guys,
faces
we love
right
you,
now.
but we're not done. Dolph and I, we got ahead, but guess what we're going to do? I'm going to bring up some of my coaches, my team here in just a second. Colton.
Just a shout out to Brody.
Oh, Brody, what's up, Brody?
He was just lighting up in the chat and is really excited to be part. He even bought the extra coaching.
Oh, Brody,
Oh,
hey,
dude,
congratulations,
success
buddy.
to you,
Brody,
Bo.
really,
Well done,
really
well
excited
done.
for you. And listen, for every one of you coming and playing, Dolph and I welcome you. We're so excited to play. What we're going to do right now is I'm going to be bringing up, raise my hand. I got all my coaches here. Who's coming up here? Guys, we got Graham coming up. We've got Derek coming up. By the way, guess who builds and runs my entire real estate portfolio? Derek Larson. Derek, come on up here. Derek, come on up
Guys,
here.
big clap for Derek in the room.
Yay.
Yeah.
But Dolph, don't head out yet. Just hang out in the back. And then Graham, oh my gosh, Graham is, come on Graham, get up here, buddy. Guys, listen, these two amazing young men, and Dolph, hop in here for a second, because we're about to
They're
share goodbyes.
cozy here.
But listen, Graham and Derek are going to stay here. They're going to continue answering your questions. They're going to keep helping you along as long as we can. If you guys are going to stay and play, we're going to answer questions as long as we can. Dolph and I, we're going to head out, but we're going to see you on the inside so that we can also see each other at the top. It only gets gooder from here. So I want to just thank Derek and Graham for being here. But I just want to also, guys, I don't know if I ever get this privilege again. My mentor, Dolph DeRoos, showed up tonight in full force to do what I certainly couldn't do. Will you from home do me a favor, stand up, give him a round of applause and say, thank you, Dolph. I want to hear it. Thank you, Dolph.
My pleasure, my pleasure.
Awesome.
Thank you for the opportunity to be here. Thank you for the entire team. You've made this all possible.
All right,
Thank
guys.
you, Kris.
We love
we'll
you.
see you all soon. Thank you.
Absolutely. Okay, everyone say goodbye.
Okay,
Kris.
Q&A. Rock it up.
We have so much more Q&A coming up. Now I can rock this side. Ooh, there it goes. All right. All right, cool. So we've got Graham and Derek here. They're amazing coaches. In fact, if you dive into coaching even deeper, you're going to be working with Graham and occasionally even Derek, I believe, and they're going to be working with you in the coaching department. They'll also be on the Facebook group as well as our other real estate experts answering your questions once you get in on this thing. So should we just hit up some of these questions as we go along? Okay, so we've got, guys, you've sent me so many. I've just got a full text thread of them. Let's see. Anthony Santiago, let's hit up this one. Should we borrow from the bank we are already banking with, let's say, name of the bank at Bank of America is for him? I mean, what do you think about existing bank relationships versus shopping around? What's the big deal?
Sure. Ultimately, you want to go with the bank that makes sense, the bank that depends on ultimately what you're trying to invest in. If you're using a HELOC, if you're going to be doing a cash out refinance, those are the, you want to go to specific banks. Ultimately, HELOCs are best for local banks. If you're trying to pull money out of your house, go with the bank that holds that loan. It's going to be much easier. If you're choosing to do something else and you want to shop for rates, get out there. If you've got a great credit score, it'll make all the difference. So ultimately, it depends on what you're trying to achieve. But realistically, stick with the banks that you know. Stick with the banks you have a history with. walk in, get to know people, and you're a heck of a lot more likely to move forward when you've made friends in a local bank.
Now, this is really interesting that you say this, and I think we're all sharing a mic up in here. When you say use the bank you get to know, it sounds like you're breaking the impression that at least I had with banks. I thought banks were all one big conglomeration. They all represented the same entity, and it turns out that you can actually shop around for banks. You can pit banks against each other, banks that have a relationship with you, people in the banks that have a relationship with you. Turns out, it sounds like banks are all just businesses, just like everybody else. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and just to add to it, I've worked with a lot of clients. I always encourage rate shopping. Rate shopping, one, maybe giving you a 3.5, and you go within the next day. Always shop within the same day, just because rates are at a constant change. So if you do want to get accurate, good rates, you always want to go 4 or 5 places within the same day, just to make sure if one is giving you a 4.5, you want to find one that's going to give you a 4, maybe a 3.9. It's definitely important to make sure you get the best rate to lock in for yourself and the betterment for your family. So I always encourage shopping as much as you can.
Awesome. I love that. Thank you so much for that. Now, I have a couple of people that are asking online, okay, we introduced you guys as coaches. What is the coaching? What does that look like? Do they get to work one-on-one with you? How does this work? Who wants to take this one? All right, Graham, here you go.
Yeah. So it is more one-on-one, which is a lot of fun. We get to we get to create some.
Don't make it weird. Why'd you have to do that?
No, but it creates better relationships that we find, and because of that, we're able to talk a little bit clearer with people. We're able to be a little bit more direct with you, make sure that you're actually on the right path for yourself, because that's ultimately what it is, right? It's an educational purpose that we have for you, and we want to make sure that you're taught the proper criteria and the proper rules to make sure you're still on the right path.
So they can bring like their deals that they're working on to you.
Exactly.
Right? Say, hey, second eyes and ears on this. What do you think?
Yeah. You bring deals to us. We'll go over it with you to the best of our knowledge, right? We can't go over like taxation and stuff like that because we're not tax attorneys. But
Turns out, right?
yeah. But we'll definitely make sure we go over everything in detail. So definitely want to make sure that you're taken care of that way. So it's definitely important that you bring everything that you have a concern with us directly to us.
Awesome. Beautiful. I'm going to hit up more of these questions. You guys are doing a great job of them coming in. Again, if you're interested in just getting in on this thing, go ahead and call my coaches. They're all waiting for you, 801-894-9416. I've got a few coaches that are lined up and ready to help you get in on this thing. We're going to take another question from Alex Mitchum. I hope I'm saying that correctly. How do you find a tenant for a property you don't even own yet? What's the deal? How does that work? Who wants to take this one?
I can work on that.
All right, Derek, it's yours.
All right. So ultimately, tenants can be found in a series of ways, but it also depends on whether or not you're using a property management company.
Oh, good point.
If you're using a property management company, you've signed up typically for 8 to 10, 12% of the gross rent that month, and they take care of it for you. And to be honest, I can't tell you how much I love property management companies. I would not do real estate without property management companies because I don't want to deal with the tenants. And I have such a soft heart. Like I would lose so much money because of my soft heart. But what it's really about is how do you find tenants? Well, ultimately, if you're looking to manage your own property and put tenants in your own property, you do have to check with local state laws. Some states will not allow you to market your property unless it's yours, unless you technically own it. So that is something that you first need to do is check with your state law to verify that you can market your property before you own it. Once you own it, there are a myriad of places that allows you to market. You do have local, Facebook markets. You have local news agencies you can talk with to see what they've got available. There's a slew of other things that you can do as far as moving forward. But I would definitely check with your local laws first.
Absolutely. Good plan. Now, I think I've got 2 mics now. I can just pass this one back between you guys. I do want to congratulate a couple people, Vanessa B., Stefan B., Brendan S., John F. Congratulations. We're so excited for you guys to get in this thing, get moving. I'm excited for you for this because you're taking action. And what I also want you to take action on is dive into this content, digest it once, digest it twice, go through it front, back, up, and down so well that you could teach it. I think that's really the best way. Bring in your 6-year-old, your 10-year-old, or friend, be like, hey, I want to teach you this thing just so I can understand it way better. Let's go ahead and hit up some other questions. You guys are doing great. There's one that came in. Do you need a real estate license? What's with that? Who wants to? Yeah, Graham's got it. He's like, I know this one.
As a realtor myself, and doing many deals. I found after probably 20, 30 deals, the license doesn't bring the knowledge, right? Getting your foot
mic drop.
into the dirt and just trying to find the deal, really trying to work and network with other people, working with courses like this. You don't have to spend $1,000 and go through hours and hours and hours of studying and testing just to get your license, to figure out that you need to do a deal with someone to actually get some knowledge. So
Just like a driver's license doesn't make
just
a good
like a
driver.
driver's license. Absolutely. I've seen a lot of drivers out there that I feel like they don't have a license because
Maybe they shouldn't have a
Yeah, they
license.
shouldn't have a license. But absolutely no, you don't need a license to have knowledge in order to do real estate.
Oh, great answer. Okay, very good question from TJ Larav. That's a really cool name. I like that one. It sounds like a DJ. It
does.
DJ Larav, yeah. I get for residential, you use Zillow. Maybe there's even some others. How do you find commercial for sale? Where do people that have these empty buildings, where do they list them? Where do they look? Does anyone know?
Yeah, so the general public, if you don't have a connections base, right, with other very rich people like Dolph or with Kris, then the best thing to do is you just type into Google commercial real estate.
Turns out Google.
And it's great. I mean, it'll pull up if you don't have like an MLS or anything like that to go onto, like if you're an agent. But if you're just a regular Joe, you just go onto Google, type in commercial real estate, and agents are posting it everywhere, right? People want to get these homes sold and these massive complexes sold, and they want them to get it at the highest price possible. So they'll put them everywhere so that they can get as many people to see them.
You know, and Dolph posted something really interesting. And you know, it wasn't actually Dolph, it was Robert Allen, who works in our Financial Genius Mastermind. He said he went to San Francisco with $100, accidentally left it at the airport. And so he had to go back and find it. Got his $100, turned it in his wallet, went to San Francisco and looked at newspaper ads. If you can believe it or not, that's still a thing. And he would look for the small ads, not for the big glamorous ones, but for the small ones that you could tell they had a small budget, but they were doing their best to get it out there. Get creative. Look where people are posting. Use social media. Use Facebook. Use Google. We have another, actually 54 spots left with this thing, so we're pretty much, I
Great
mean, there's
job,
only
guys.
over 10% left. That's incredible.
Graham, if you don't mind me asking, how can networking help with this? Networking overall. I mean, don't cities have local networking that you can be a part of?
Absolutely.
Good point.
Yeah, network's a fantastic idea. There's always people willing to do deals. You can find them anywhere and everywhere. So I always feel like doing a personal network, if you have a Facebook group that you want to go onto, or if you have a news network you want to go onto, news is always looking for the new thing that's happening. And so
They need content,
Yeah, they
right?
need
Yeah.
content. That's kind of what they eat up. And so if you can offer something that'd be willing for them to listen and potentially put you on the news, you can bring X amount more people
Oh,
to
you just gave me a mind blow, because I know some people that work at I know some anchors that I could text right now and be like, dude, I'm looking for this property. Let's make a story, right? Oh, yeah. I love that. So yeah, that's another great outlet. And was there a part two that I just totally interjected there?
Well, I think one thing I'd like to add is, quite honestly, none of us are successful by ourselves in this room.
True story.
We're all relying on other people, relying on knowledge, building networks. And I have found things like chambers of commerce. Like, we're talking about business. Every city, every community has a chamber of commerce. Look it up. Rotary clubs. Get in, find people, talk to them. How did you start your business? What are you into? Are you looking for more real estate to
that's hunger right
expand?
there. I love
like
that.
You could kill it if you just connect and find out, one, what people need, and two, get yourself out there to find it for them. I mean,
LinkedIn,
it's all
too.
about it. Oh, LinkedIn's huge too.
LinkedIn's absolutely
That's a whole
huge.
huge conversation.
Oh yeah, that's a whole
For
different
sure.
ball of wax. Now I want to address Dustin David. Let's see, we have a few empty motels that have been vacant for 10 plus years. What's the best way to attack those and renew the rooms? That's an interesting question. Any thoughts on that? I wish Dolph was in the room right now, because he could probably think of 10 different things. But is there any plan of attack for the space? I mean, do we find a tenant? Do we work on selling it? What would be your plan of attack if that was plopped in your lap?
So right now in the motel and hotel space, it's definitely difficult. I've worked with a couple of past clients who have reached out, trying to sell them. Selling isn't always the answer, right? There are creative ways that you can definitely work it. It now depends on the zoning and what's actually allowed in the city, but you can open it towards a couple different things. Most recently, hotels were opening it for COVID patients, that they were able to receive state relief from that. There's a lot of cool things that you can do just by reaching out to other hotel owners. You can see what they're doing. I would definitely try to network within your current space of other people who also own the same businesses
Back
and
to what you were saying.
see what
Yeah.
they're doing, because that's where you're going to get the best results.
Also, the Facebook group. If you're
Also
part
the
of this,
Facebook group.
I would definitely throw that in there,
Yeah,
especially if
for
you're an empty motel owner. I'm sure Dolph would jump on that one. Any other advice you have for that? I have another question if you don't.
Yeah, let's jump to the other question.
Okay, awesome. Edith Izquierdo. If I got that right, gold star for me, right? How long do I wait for bank to let me buy another house? And now I've got my tongue tied. Another house after buying my first property. Do I have to wait a certain amount of time? How does that all look?
Do you want some? Or do you want me to take
for
it? Okay. So timelines are going to vary, right? Ultimately, talk to a loan officer. They'll give you a breakdown. But I would say every 6 months. Typically, that's when there's going to be a credit reset, 6 to 8 months, and then you can start shopping again. Ultimately, it comes down to how much you're going to be putting down and your total credit rate and total credit score. But as long as you have a really high credit score and it continues, I would say every 6 to 8 months you should be shopping if you're looking to get multiple homes.
Awesome. Okay, cool. I know I just bought a home. Actually, Derek hooked me up to 2 homes last month, and we bought 2 homes just right out of the bat. I know that you basically can put 10 houses on any given credit score as long as it's a good credit score. Would you say that's accurate? Yeah, so there's not a whole lot of delay there if you've got good buying power. That's if you have money to put down. If you don't, then you've got all of these other strategies as well. We've got this question. Here it is from Michael Haynes. How would you go about buying single-family home with a leasee or a renter already in it? Is that a bad thing or a good thing? How does that work?
It's not a bad thing. It's a great thing to have
cool,
current
right?
rent coming in because you can actually leverage that against the current debt on a home. You can actually come in with less money, saying that this is how much the home is currently netting. This is going to be the debt on it on X amount of dollars. You could use the cap rate on it. And you can use that to leverage with the bank to definitely help you. So always having a tenant, if it's going to be a long-term tenant, as long as it's not month to month and they're not paying under value, you can always change that in the future. But typically, if they're paying at value or more, it's always a good thing to leverage with.
I think that's great. It's basically buying an asset that's already cash flowing at that point, right? Oh, yeah, absolutely. And we've got lots of questions coming in. This person's actually here. Oh, Dura Kapchi. I have $50K in the bank, but I lost my job. So sorry to hear that, but you're not out of luck. What should I do? Should I partner with Kris or should I buy the training? Or what should I do with this $50K if I lost my job? Interesting question. Now, I have to weigh in on my 2 cents on this, if that's okay. Now, listen, you've got $50K. I hope you're stockpiling a sleep well at night account, right? I'm not going to sit here and tell you that jobs are a bad thing. They're definitely not. But they're something that you can, use as a stomping ground while you go off and do a side hustle. But the question is this, back to what Dolph and Kris are saying, what's with the real estate between your ears? Are you willing to hustle? Are you willing to put forth the time, energy, and effort? What a beautiful time, actually, to take 2 weeks and see what's possible. I would recommend taking 2 weeks, putting all of your grit into finding a real estate hustle. You've got time on your side now. See it as a gift. Some of the weirdest gifts in our life are the biggest blessings, but they've got the strangest wrapping paper. So ask yourself this question: how is this break from working from somebody else, making them rich, how is it actually a gift? And how do I make a comeback story from that? Ask the right questions and you'll get productive answers. If you guys want to add to that, I'd love to hear it.
You know what? That is like the amazing American story.
Right? It could be a book. It's like in the making.
It's like,
right?
I don't have a job. I got $50K. What do I do?
Oh, I want to read your book.
Quite frankly, my friend, you have a paintbrush and a canvas in front of you.
Yeah.
Do what you can and do what you want, because ultimately what drives your passion is what's going to make you rich.
Yeah.
And wealth isn't everything. It's about what you're wanting to become. So, Dolph and Kris have been up here and they've not just spoken about how to make money, they've spoken what their dream is and what they're going for. Okay, so you don't have a job. Well, is there a job out there you've always been looking for? And what does that look like? And are you in the right space? Maybe you need to relocate. Quite honestly, $50K, if I lost my job and I had $50K, man alive, everything I could do to get into whatever job I wanted, right? I could relocate, I could find it. Maybe it's about going back to school. Maybe it's living with a relative. Leverage what you can to move your game plan forward, because honestly, you can take nothing and turn it into an incredible something. So you're already in a great space.
The quality of the questions you ask is going to determine the quality of your results. So learn to ask better questions. Learn to improve your life. But if I were walked up to Kris right now and say, "Oh, Kris, I lost my job," do you think Kris would stand here and tell me, "Oh, well, Marianne, I guess that's everything. I guess
Most certainly not.
you're out of luck. You know, that just wouldn't happen. People hustle when they're painted into a corner. And from speaking from experience, my worst financial position was being not on one or two, but 3 different forms of government and ecclesiastical assistance.
I know your story, Mary.
You know, I wasn't working, my ex-husband wasn't working, we were renting, and I literally hustled as hard as I could. It was this burning the bridge. I didn't have any other option but to make it work. And that mindset is what got me from being to that space not too long ago, just a matter of single-digit years ago, to the point now where I have literally $1 million real estate portfolio.
For sure.
You know, and it's the hustle in your mind. And I know some of you might say, Marianne, that sounds cheesy. Marianne, that sounds lame. Marianne, you're talking mindset, weird, voodoo, woo-woo stuff. Listen. If you think that voodoo is weird, you've already lost it, okay? You have to participate in your life if you want to participate in the results. Okay, awesome. Now I'm excited for you. Please post up on your follow-up, tag Kris in whatever social media. Tell us what you do next. I'm genuinely very, very curious. Now listen, now we're about to wrap this up. We want to make sure we address as many of your questions as possible. If you're still on the fence, get the pickets out of your butt and choose in or out, okay? Click add to cart. We only have 38 spots left. Call the 801-894-9416 number at the bottom. I've got my entire staff waiting to answer the phones for any of you that are ready to go. If you have just a couple questions, they're there for you as well. We've got a question from Matthew Glover. What are some simple telltale signs that a bad deal went south, and when should you walk? What if you got in on a bad deal? Let's look at the risk. Let's talk about the things that most people aren't willing to talk about.
Yeah. So if you got into a bad deal, there's a lot of protections for you, right? You have deadlines that you're going to be hitting if you go under contract with someone. You have your due diligence period, finance and appraisal typically, and then down to closing and settlement. So doing that due diligence period.
It's hard, isn't it?
No, but during your due diligence period, you're going to have a lot of opportunity to make sure you have your inspector come through with you. You can go through many, many times as long as the seller's going to allow it. And you can make sure everything's going to be taken care of. So if you know that there's going to be a bad deal, you should be within your rights to be able to cancel it as long as you've done it before your finance and appraisal deadline typically.
Good contracts, yeah.
Yeah, good contracts with whoever you're using is definitely going to be important. But if it's going south, drop it, right? As long as you can. Even if your earnest money's gone hard, drop it. Losing, $5,000 in a deal that could potentially cost you tens of thousands of dollars is absolutely worth it. Especially if the outcome is going to be you can get another home in 2-3 weeks by doing more due diligence, trying to find another home, and getting that $5,000 back in a couple months through rent. It's absolutely.
Use the right team, right? Get set up with the right team who's done it. I like Kris's analogy because he says if you climb Everest, do you want to climb Everest with the guy who did it once yesterday or the guy who did it 50 times last year, right? Yep. Climb with the team who knows the trail. Okay, so you're right. Definitely get the right contracts. Get some help. There are lots of people that are available, and willing to help. Again, if you're part of this group, you've got your Facebook group, and say, hey, when should I cut my losses? Maybe there might be a hidden gem that you're not seeing. We call those blind spots. Okay. Okay, awesome. So Alan Scott, I've got so many texts. This guy is going crazy. My biggest question is, in a sandwich lease, once the buyer is ready to buy, what's the process of doing closing? Since the owner is still the owner and I'm not, where does my power lie here? So I'm in the middle of a sandwich lease, right?
Yep,
what's going on? Yeah.
Yeah, so ultimately, if you're going to be closing with a buyer, there's going to be tenancy that you're going to be working through. Essentially, the close is going to happen not with the title, because essentially, if the owner still owns it, they would still hold title. But it's going to be happen over a period of time, I guess. It would happen where they would be a set date that you would have for them, where they'd be moving in. You would have then whatever they're going to be charging at the very beginning before they move in or day of move in, and they would be sending that. You can do a cashier's check or whatever you want to be using for that. But as long as the seller understands when they're going to be moving in, the tenant understands when they're going to be moving in, and you have all the dates set up, you should be good. And you don't need to use title or anything since nothing's being transferred. But it's pretty simple. Just as soon as they are coming into the home, they're going to be transferring the money to you, and then tenancy continues.
So what about this though? Let's just say pretend I'm 5 and I've never done real estate before, right? So I get into a lease option. I'm the person that set up the no money down deal. I found a house. The owner of the house agreed to let me kind of manage it and put a tenant in there. The tenant moves in, they're not ready to buy yet, but they're paying me rent. I'm making sure the landlord and the bank and everyone gets taken care of. I'm making a little bit of profit on the top. Now it's time, it's been 2 years. The end of the agreement has come up. The tenant said, I'm gonna live here for 2 years, I'm gonna pay you this much, and then I'm gonna buy. How does that happen? Because again, I'm not in charge here. I'm not selling the home. Do they buy from the owner? Do they buy from the bank? How does this work?
Yeah, so essentially with the sandwich lease is you are purchasing from them, and then they will be purchasing, then the tenant will be purchasing from you. Oh, sorry, can you hear me now? So essentially you're gonna be buying from the seller, and then the seller or then the tenant will then buy from you. I'm sure if you were to negotiate it with the tenants, they can buy from the seller.
That seems sometimes might be easier. I don't know.
Yeah, it just kind of depends on how you want to work it into your contract. If you want to be the one that's purchasing, if you originally said, hey, I'll buy the home from you in X amount of years, and then the tenant's going to buy from me in X amount of years, then that's fine, or you can have either way. But yeah, so you would then do a transfer through title, so you'd have to get in contact with a title company. The tenant would have to be working with a loan officer, and then you typically set up a 30-day escrow for closing.
Now this is all in the lease options course, right? How to do this step by step. Even Kris walked you through the contracts, all of those details. It really makes it crazy easy. Now I love this question from Forrest Donnellan. I am in college right now to be a mechanical engineer. Forrest, I hope you're doing that because you love it, because I would not love that. I love engineering, oh good, but I also want to do real estate. What is the best way to balance college education and also doing real estate?
Yeah, so working deals in your backyard, doing this same program, right? The cheapest way to get knowledge is typically spending a little bit of money so you can get that knowledge. So this course would be fantastic for you. It allows you to do deals in your backyard. And so I could definitely push that for you. It's definitely great knowledge because you're also going to be given a network, right? You're going to be able to talk to other people who have had success, potentially in your same area. And so trying to pick up knowledge while going to school, it can be a little bit hard. That's what I was doing for a little bit. But if you're willing to put in the hours and you're willing to spend a little bit of money to get some knowledge, then it's absolutely worth it and it's definitely doable.
Awesome, awesome, very cool. I want to say something about college for a second. Can I jump on that? Oh my gosh, college drives me a little bit nuts because you think, here's my rule in life, and I've learned this the hard way. College, you get what you pay for in terms of, listen, if you're going to want someone's results, learn to do what they do. If I want to learn to be a college professor, I'm going to go to college and learn to be a college professor. If I'm going to learn to be a brain surgeon, I don't learn it in college. I learn it in the operating theater from a brain surgeon who's done it 100,000 times. If I wanted to be a lawyer, did you know you don't have to go to college to be a lawyer? You just have to pass the bar. Watch Catch Me If You Can. You know, you just have to learn how to do it right. If you want someone's results, ask the someone how they did it, okay? Listen, I spent 10 years going to college and walked away with no degree because I left 12 credits short of graduating because I was making more money than my college professors doing real estate. My college professors are like, what's going on? I'm like, peace out. I don't need to learn the passato prossimo in Italian anymore. Like, this is stupid, right? So I left. And I left 12 credits short of graduating. Only member of my 10-kid family that did that. They all value education. Learn about what real higher education is. If you want the results that they have, learn from them. If you want the results Kris has, or that Dolph has, or Derek, or Graham, if you want the results that these people have, do what they do, learn from them. Now let's review once again what's included in this level of higher education. Total value breakdown. Listen, you're getting the full lease option course, plus on the right-hand side, we're upgrading you to lifetime access, which is really, really cool. You're also getting the creative real estate course that Dolph and Kris just recorded, a $3,000 value. You're not gonna wanna miss that. 101 Ways, the digital audio book and course. The 90 days live coaching with Kris and Dolph. Guys, this is where you get to pin down your mentor and say, I'm not letting go till I can grill you and ask you all the questions I want. We also give you all the real estate legal documentation. We've talked about that a lot. All of the legal contracts. Kris has already paid the attorneys to put these together. We're just gonna give them to you. You also get the tax minimization guide and a consultation, someone to walk you through that. 2 live event tickets. Guys, listen, the doors are opening back up. Masks are coming off now. We're so excited for that. I know, amen, right? We get 34 of you left able to get in this. 2 live event tickets so you can come hang out with us in the room, breathe the same air we're breathing, maybe have Kris spit on your face on accident. It's gonna be great.
Frequent.
Yeah, frequently. Private community access, which literally, we talk about network. This is where you're going to network with the most amazing people who have success stories, and maybe even you get to be one of the success stories and be like, hey, now I'm gonna do the world a favor and reach down and help somebody up who's brand new. That's awesome. And then again, Dolph said this is the most important one for him. The Art of Breakthrough digital course. I can't hack real estate on the ground if I haven't hacked the real estate in my mind. Guys, listen, this is huge. So make sure that you take advantage of this. This is going away. We're not going to be like doing the weird marketing thing where hey, this is only available today and then make it available next week. Sorry, it's not going to be a thing. We're only offering this during this webinar. So just make sure that if you're on the fence, get off one way or the other. I'm okay if you're a no. I'm okay if you're a yes, but get off the fence and choose what would benefit you the most. We've got just a couple more questions, and we have the guarantee. Is that what you're going for?
Yep.
Yes. Okay. We stand behind what we do, but listen, I got to tell you something. If you're going to get on the phone with me or the rest of my team, and you're asking about the refunds, you're looking in the wrong direction, okay? Like, how can I get my money back is not how you make more money. So let me give you the refund policy right now. Double your money back lifetime guarantee if you invest in this package. Complete all the videos. You got to show us that you use it, right? Go through the modules, watch every live training session, and attend a full in-person event without tripling your investment. At the very minimum, we will cut you a check for double the amount you invested in this course, no questions asked. You screenshot it. Take a picture of that. Hold us to our word, because we will. Now listen, I want to go back to what I said before. If you're hung up on, gosh, if this doesn't work, how do I get my money back? You're asking the wrong questions. You're looking in the wrong directions. Do me a favor and don't buy right now, because you're just not going to make the most of this. You should be asking, how fast can I create an ROI? How can I be one of those people that Kris calls and said, you had so much success, I want you on my live stream with me. How can you be that guy? If you don't want to be that guy, don't get in this thing.
You mind if I say something, Marianne?
Please do, jump in, yeah.
So I'm the kind of individual where I speak from my heart. And honestly, when it comes down to making decisions, we all do it emotionally.
It's true.
We are all emotional in our decision making.
Based on feelings, not necessarily facts always.
I got to tell you, I got to know Kris 8 years ago. Mm-hmm. And the journey that I have been on in those 8 years has changed all the financial decisions I have been making.
Wow.
All the financial decisions I have been making. And it was because a friend came up to me and they said, are you interested in learning more about real estate? And I'm like, you know what? I think that's a good idea.
Right.
I think. It was my wife, beautiful wife, had to convince me to go, right?
Yeah.
Because I'm skeptical myself.
You might be the head of the family. She's the neck. She's going to turn you wherever she wants you to go, right?
Oh, by all means, it's true. But I got to tell you, it took me and my wife 6 years before we got into our first deal, our first property.
I did not know that.
Yeah. Last year were the first 2 deals we got.
Yeah.
And I'm super stoked. I just put in an offer for my 3rd deal today.
Woo! Way to go!
So
That's awesome!
I am super stoked. And it just so happens tomorrow's my birthday.
Happy birthday,
so
Derek.
I'm crossing my fingers that something amazing happens and I get this deal under contract. So super stoked. But the reason I'm bringing this is because it took me 6 years to get those deals, because ultimately it wasn't the money in my pocket. It was the way I was thinking.
That's insane.
The minute I decided I want to be successful, the minute I came out and said I can do this, was the minute that all the limitations melted away. But the point that Kris made earlier is that if I don't have any skin in this game, which we put skin in the game.
So true.
Okay, we came in,
so
we bought a package 6-7 years ago, and we had that skin in the game, and that skin was dragging me to success. It was like, you put this money in, you got to do yourself a favor and be successful. Mm-hmm. And I had to prove that to myself. Ultimately, if you're not willing to pay $997 to become successful, well, it's $100,000. What difference is it going to make?
Yeah.
You got to make a choice now. I will be successful. And moving forward with this incredible package, guys, this value is intense. Like
every time, it's just so insane.
Kris is always, he ones up himself every time.
For real.
It's insane at the value that this package has. For $997, the incredible education, the mentorship you're going to get.
Which is less than college tuition, by the way. Most of your college tuition will cost way more than this.
Oh, man.
Your textbooks cost way more than this.
Credits are expensive these days. This is cheap credit, right? And you're going to have this access to this program basically forever.
Yeah.
And the opportunities you have now is huge in the real estate game.
Yeah, it's never...
ROIs, I have blown away. For my full-time job, Marianne, and she knows this, all day, every day, I am managing Kris's partner's real estate. We get them under contract, we move them forward, and the deals that okay, half the team right now, we're all buying real estate.
I was just going to say that everyone in this room that's
Like-
bought real estate,
We're
Colton's
buying
still
real
working on home
estate.
3 and 4. I just bought my 3rd home. You just bought your, what, 3rd?
I'm working on my under contract
Happy
on my
birthday, number
3rd, so
3,
here
right?
we go, right there.
Yeah, you've got saving
So-
up. We all started from somewhere.
Well, you got to have
right?
a game plan.
Yeah.
It was the game plan. And ultimately, my game plan started when I decided to pull the trigger on this program and move forward with my life.
Yeah.
And I said, you know what? Honestly, if I want to do anything different, I need to prove to myself. So if you're asking yourself right now, can I prove to myself that I can do this? It's not a matter of how much money you have. It's a matter of you believing you can do it. You've got to prove to yourself.
Yeah.
The best way you can prove to yourself is pull the trigger and start.
Absolutely.
Start. Go somewhere. And you know what? If a year and a half from now you haven't made any money, look back and say, what kind of a person am I? Was it worth $9.97 to become the person I am today? I haven't made $1, but I am a much better person because I went through it. I tried. I've got a load of a lot more knowledge.
Yeah.
That's the value. That is the value here. Okay, it's not about doubling your ROI, tripling your ROI. Sure, those are side effects to a successful person. Those ROIs are not going to come true until you first decide to be successful. Purchasing this product and moving forward is choosing to be successful.
Absolutely. It's opting in. It's putting skin in the game. It's
It is.
making it part of your future. You know, your results will never surprise you. You know, a lot of you have been watching Kris on YouTube and on TikTok for weeks, months, some of you even years, and you still haven't done a thing about it.
Choose in.
You know what? Like, why?
in.
Why? Like, you keep consuming the content. Why are you still around if you're not going to do anything about it? Let me ask you, if you didn't make a move in the last 2 years, why is now the time? You got to upgrade your questions, you guys. You definitely need to ask yourself better questions to get better answers, to get better results. And Derek is absolutely right. Just make a move. Just do it. Nike. Just
Make
do
it decide.
right?
You just got to just go. Like, what is there to lose?
Yeah.
I mean, $1,000, that's so minuscule.
You
compared
probably
to
made
what you
worse
can become.
financial decisions with
Well,
$1,000, right?
you
I know I have.
Obviously, make good decisions, but to be honest, like, buy it. Go.
Yeah, just do it.
You know,
Just do
we've
it.
got an incredible team. We've got this.
Okay,
It's
awesome.
amazing.
Now, folks, I think we're going to go ahead and wrap up this evening. There's a lot of you that are actually talking with our teams. Maybe you'll get with them and get an actual game plan like Derek was
For
talking
sure,
about.
yeah.
They're more than willing to do that with you. Listen, we're going to wrap up, but one last, just a reminder for you, write down this number, take a screenshot, do whatever you got to do, but call 801-894-9416. That will connect you with one of the people that's here at our office, maybe Nick or maybe I almost said Dolph, but Dolph has gone home and gone to bed. We've got a whole team of people we've got waiting for you to answer the phones. And listen, if you ever want to make a change in your life, I'm not just saying this to sound like the PBS station, right? You got to make a move. You got to do something. You put skin in the game. I put $40,000 of skin in the game. Just make it happen. We're gonna wrap up. God bless you. Take good care of yourselves, and we will see you on the other side.
The gift will be emailed out to everyone.
Oh yes. Okay. The gift.
Yeah.
The gift. We did not forget the
$500
gift.
course will be sent to everyone.
Your email is going to receive this $500 gift. So just watch your email for that. If you don't see it in your email, check your spam, check your promotions folder. We'll make sure we get that to you. Again, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for spending your time with us. Take care. Have a good night.